It's a 1-0 series lead for the Buffalo Sabres, and now all eyes point to Game 2 tomorrow night in Buffalo. For more on last night's win, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And then we did get some news from this morning. Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin was announced as one of the 3 finalists for the Norris Trophy, which is handed out to the league's best defenseman. If Dahlin were to win this award, he would become the first Norris Trophy winner in Sabres history. And then the other 2 finalists are Cale Makar of Colorado and Zach Werenski of Columbus. And of course, as round 2 rolls along here, the playoff posters are ready for you. Stop by any Paula's Donuts location and grab the We Love River Hockey poster while supplies last. Hang it up with pride at home, work, or take it with you to the game or watch party. Paula's Donuts, made with love on Sheridan in Tonawanda, in the Premier Plaza in Williamsville, Southgate Plaza in West Seneca, and Seneca Street in Larkinville. For tonight, there is just one game in the NHL. It's already Game 3 for Carolina and the Flyers. Hurricanes are up 2-0 in that series as it heads to Philadelphia. Puck drop is at 8 o'clock. The Steelers appear to finally have their answer on Aaron Rodgers. Ian Rappaport is reporting that the 42-year-old quarterback is set to meet with the Steelers over the next few days, and the expectation is for him to play in Pittsburgh in 2026. Nothing official yet on that. And then in baseball, Bison's on the road versus the Iron Pigs. First pitch for that game is at 6:45. The Yankees currently are taking on the Rangers, and that game is 7-2 in favor of the Yankees in the 7th. And coming up in the next few minutes, the Mets are at Colorado. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Play forced out to center. Here's a chance. 3-on-1 to the line for Buffalo. Pass across. Scores! Great play to Doan in front. And the Sabres, Benson and Doan. Pass to the bumper spot. That one back in front. Scores! Side of the net. Hot Wheels McLeod parked in the right spot. And the Sabres take a 2-0 lead.
How do you make a Buffalo noise?
Give it a whirl. Bank pass quickly ahead to Greenway in the Montreal zone. Fires a shot, scores! Welcome back to the Greenway. Here's Byram right up the middle with a shot, scores! Bo Byram bangs it home with 10:59 remaining in the second period, and the Buffalo Sabres are up 4-1.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR.
I didn't think to ask you, did you watch the game last night?
Nah.
What were you watching? NWSL?
I've fallen into this Lisa Kudrow reality show within a reality show called The Comeback, and I'm enjoying that, so I watched a bunch of that.
Is anybody not watching the games for luck?
Ooh, I don't know. You weren't here. We had a weird week last week. I think maybe the day before Game 5, which we went to, I had a friend of mine, AJ, call, and he laid out this whole story about where he's been and what he's been doing when they've won and what he's been doing when they've lost. And mostly he'd been watching when they lost or paying attention and not when they've won. And so he pledged to stop watching, and then they lost Game 5 anyway, so I don't know where that is. So there was one person I know that was actively, I think he was mostly kidding when he called to tell a story, but like, I will avoid
Nobody
the
does
game.
That.
I will avoid the game. This is someone I know, like, personally. I don't think he really believes he's having an impact on the games. But he said, like, for the good of the good of the community, I'll avoid the game.
No, he might not. I think it's like this. I think there are plenty of sane people who know that their habits do not affect the outcome of Sabres games, but they still kind of want to lean on it.
You still kind of have to, well, if I fully subscribed, this won't surprise you, probably won't surprise much of the audience. I'm all over the road on that sort of stuff. I've been invited to go to Game 2. I have been to 2 games this year. I'm 0-2. I'm just saying.
Did the Sabres win like 50 in a row?
Yeah, I was on the wrong.
How did you pull that off?
I missed Game 5. I was there. That was a miss. They lost.
I was there.
And the only other game I went to all year was the game right before the Olympic break against Pittsburgh, which they also lost pretty badly.
Like 5-2 or something?
Yeah, it might have been like one of the worst games of the year in the arena, at least the new year, like the rebirth anyway.
You know what? I might be winless this year.
So I don't know.
I think I've been to 5.
Am I supposed to not go Friday?
Yes.
Okay, well, tough.
Right? Anybody want to weigh in?
But here, I want to hear more about your 0 for 5. But here's the evidence of how mixed up I am about it. I don't subscribe to any of that. Yet I got home last night. I was wearing the same sort of light blue Sabre hat. I bought new hats because I was so sure someone was going to hat trick on Tuesday at Game 5, and I was wearing a nice Sabre hat in there, fully prepared to divest myself of it if necessary. So I had backup hats that actually arrived at my house Wednesday morning.
Backup hats,
new Sabre hats to replace the one that I was going to throw on the ice when Jason Zucker got a hat trick in Game 5, which of course never happened.
No.
So I got this new hat, this light blue hat. I wore it all through the game. I wore it in here on Friday for Game 6 against Boston. And I never do this, but I got home and my friend John Gale was already there waiting for me to watch the game. Owen wasn't there because he had driven to Boston. And I left the hat on I came in the house, said hi to him, went and got a couple beers, and we sat down, and I never took the hat off. And they won. So I wore the hat here yesterday. I got home. I was upstairs where I would normally take the hat off and put it on a rack. And I thought, I should wear the hat. They won Friday. And I said, that's stupid, and I put it on the rack, and they won.
Oh, no, I was hoping you kept it on.
I took it off.
We could talk about tomorrow.
So, yeah, no. I mean, I'm gonna wear it tomorrow. It's 2-0. That hat's 2-0.
That hat is 2-0.
So, hopefully that offsets my 0-2.
Will you be close enough to be able to throw it if somebody scores a hat trick?
I will not. I'm going to be in. I get invited by the Fight Nice folks at Roswell, and I'm in one of those corner spots that's not even it's right above the 200 level, not even on the suite level. So it's a very tough spot to get a hat from there, all the way.
Well, if you throw it halfway,
somebody will finish the job.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Odds that somebody does that? They just keep throwing it forward?
I think good. Who's going to look at it? Oh, I'm that size and put it on their head when Tage Thompson gets a hat trick tomorrow night. No, if a hat lands on you, I think it's like a beach ball at a concert. You're just try to keep it going.
Yeah, that's good form.
Yeah, I think
you can't just take it.
Right.
Remember when my son threw the sippy cup from the suite level?
No, I don't.
Listen, he was young. He's 16 now.
No, I do remember this.
This was a game against Nashville.
I do.
And we were in a corner suite. And there might have been a moment where they scored an empty net goal or the crowd, and he takes his full of water sippy cup and just fires it, and it nails somebody.
Boy.
So we start immediately running down. The game is ending, but I don't know. I just didn't want to just stand there. So we start, bolt out of the suite with him down the stairs, trying to find
someone to apologize to.
Yeah, someone to apologize to,
Yeah.
And did not.
Did you retrieve the sippy cup?
No.
Okay.
Nothing ever happened from it. I mean, I'm sure on the next broadcast, I was in here oh my God, if that was you.
The amount of time in my life I spent when the kids were that age trying to control, just keep track of the sippy cups and the stuff. I can you imagine what that was like for me. I look back at it now and just think, dude, it's a sippy cup. You get another one.
But that would hurt.
No, I know. I'm not talking about throwing it at all. I'm just saying, keeping it. I asked. My instinct was to ask, did you get the sippy cup back? Because I would have wanted to get my sippy cup back because I'm a maniac.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking we probably murdered somebody.
Yeah.
But, the bright side, he's got a good arm.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that, too. It's a good throw.
Yeah.
But, bad judgment.
Yeah.
Who has the last Sabres playoff hat trick?
Ooh. The crazy game one against Ottawa, nobody had a hat trick. Right. A couple of Connolly and Roy had like 4 or 5 point games, but it was goals and assists, I think. Last playoff hat trick.
There have been
Is it like
50 regular season hat tricks since.
50? Oof, that's a big number.
Exactly 50.
Could they have 50 hat tricks in 20 years? Would that make is that too many? I'm trying to think. Is it like someone from 05-06 when they clobbered Philadelphia? Like Jochen Hecht have a hat trick in one of those games or something? No.
I mean, Thompson has like 10.
Yeah,
9 or 10.
All right. I'm gonna Hecht is my answer.
It's Pominville. It's the 8-2 Game 2 win in 06.
Okay.
Where Dumont has a hat trick in the game already. And then Pominville scores 2 late goals and sort of trumps him.
All right.
So poor Dumont.
That's
like,
that's the most
I had
recent.
a hat trick in the same game, and it still doesn't count for your question?
Yeah.
No, it does not. Jason Pominville, April 24th, 2006.
All right.
Just over 20 years ago is the last Sabres playoff hat trick. Well, we keep going. Eager to reflect on and analyze last night's game. We'll do that plenty today. Sean McIndoe today. Down goes Brown on the Sabres run. Another hockey guest from our past that we can ask how surprised he is about all this. But he writes some of the cleverest hockey on the internet. So he might have, I'm sure he does have an interesting perspective, a special, perhaps unique perspective on the Sabres. Paul Hamilton today. E.J. Raddick is back. We can't get enough E.J. Raddick.
I'm finally here for an E.J. Raddick appearance.
Right. Don't leave
that.
before 6 because we'll need you. If
I
you're
will
gonna
not.
Finally, for once, talk to E.J. Raddick. Finally, you're going to settle your differences and hang around for his segment.
That's what it is. It's a blood feud.
I thought, and if this ends up leading us into a conversation about last night, great. It probably should. I thought it'd be kind of fun today. Again, in my way, trying to make sure we keep perspective on all this in a positive way, not like just sort of, oh my God, they could still lose. Not at all like that, but just really appreciating and trying to comprehend this last 5 months now, almost to the day of the Sabres. It's insane that this has happened. I thought it might be fun if we tried. I'd get a roster out and start to check, throw check marks down. At least one take on each player. You think we can pull that off?
Yes.
We have plenty of time.
Yes.
At least one take on each player. I think one thing that hit me last night the game was a pretty smooth ride. They got outshot. I mean, they could have gotten in a race with Montreal and lost, but another third period where it's just kind of like,
shut it down.
Okay.
Shut it down.
This is fine.
Yeah.
I thought about one issue on the table with them that we've talked about is like whether the deadline moves were worth it. And they don't have Carrick back, and they might get him by tomorrow. That's another interesting question, I think, because they won. And, do you mess with it? But I don't want to say I'll capitulate on Stanley because I never hated it, but I had a tough time buying in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going really well. Like he's giving them, is he not giving them exactly what they wanted?
I think so. Yeah. No, I think so. And frankly, so is Timmins. Like so much about, think about the amount of airtime spent on Metsä. And is he their number 5 guy now? Like he's in. He's put it in ink. Like, I mean, I was ready to get a Metsä tattoo on my forehead.
Remember Zach Metsä?
Remember Zach Metsä? And Lindy might want to force Timmins in. He really likes Timmins. And then it just, towards the end of the regular season, it looked a little choppy. And I was concerned. Like, did they choose to make themselves actively worse? Was it I don't think an unreasonable question with how it looked when they were sort of trying out partners for Stanley. Schenn, Metsä, if they're fooling around with it, trying to figure out what they wanted. What they've settled on, I think has ended up helping them. I think it's a net gain. I think Timmins, his penalty killing and shot blocking, which is exactly what he was advertised as, has been very good and very helpful.
He had a big one in the second last night, a shot from the high slot that went off him and out.
Yeah.
Timmins?
Yeah, he was right in front of Lyon for that, I think. Almost the kind of deal where you go, boy, you better get it, because if you don't, you might have really screwed your goalie. But he got it.
And they got the bounce, too.
Yeah.
It went out.
So I was worried about that. And it's been good. Like, you know what they're not good at. Like, anytime Timmins is in a race for a puck, especially against this team, look out. Like, you better make sure you've got a cushion there, because he's not going to win many races. And nor is Stanley. But I feel like it's more pronounced with Timmins. But still, he's gotten to those pucks safely and made enough out of it, to get them out of danger. Yeah, it's no longer, okay, live through this 45 seconds when they're on the ice, which is kind of what it was at the end of the regular season. Some of that might have just been, my attachment to the Mets idea and just being nervous that this wasn't going to work, but it completely has stabilized. I think it's been really good for them.
All right, so that checks the Timmins box.
That's a take on Timmins. Yeah, welcome back, Connor Timmins.
I'll go Greenway next, even though it started with Stanley, but I didn't get very far. Greenway was always somebody you liked more than I did in this, context, in a playoff role.
Mm-hmm.
Because my problem was they just never have the puck when he's out there. I appreciate his size and, his effort level, whatever else. He's one of these guys that just nothing good seems to happen. But, man, last night, what can you say? He's a star. What happened on the goal? What do you think what the goal was about? Was the goalie screened? Did he just miss it?
I think there was a screen that flashed. It wasn't permanent, but I think just as Greenway was, it was maybe a well-timed.
Yeah.
And if Greenway was savvy enough to time it like this, credit to him. If it was just a happy accident, well, let's hear it for happy accidents. But I think Dobish missed the launch. I think, and because he had it, but he missed it. It's a terrible goal to give up. I mean, screen or not, like, he had his glove on it and it went off the glove and into the net, and like, it's Jordan Greenway from 45 feet away. Like, wow, that's a deflating kind of goal to see go in the net.
Great time for it.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, at 3-1. After giving up the late one in the first. I thought Greenway. I've said it this way about him. This goes back to them being in the race the year they missed barely to Florida. He, I think, plays in a way that his role becomes more. You notice him more when the games matter, because he does a lot of little stuff right. He's almost always on the right side of a battle. Like, if he loses a battle, the guy's not skating away from him towards the Buffalo zone. Like, he's on the defensive side of the puck a lot.
Yep.
And that's important. And he also, yesterday, I mean, he just won battles everywhere. Like,
he threw hits.
It was the most I think I've seen him sort of use his size to dominate. If I were to critique him harshly, I would say sometimes I don't think he uses his size as effectively as he could. Last night was the opposite of that. Like, it was like he realized, this is my strongest asset and I'm going to throw it around, and he did. I thought he made a difference in the game.
No doubt.
There's a penalty kill where he killed the play along the wall on Hudson, who, I mean, that's a skating skill level mismatch if there's any room there, and he just crowded him and sealed him right off and just smushed him and got the puck.
Well,
smushed him, I said.
I love that. It takes me back to Smush in the arena and the fun I had hosting Smush contests. That was a thing. All the time there are comparisons to 2006. Greenway, for me, evokes comparisons to 98 and 99, where, like, it's the grunts. And last night you had game one in the second round, who they happened to, against the team they happened to play in 98 in the second round. And, that's a Barnaby series, and just the core, if you will, of the Sabres helped elevate them all the way the next year to the finals. Like, it was Hasek, but then, I mean, you also had these role players, not to, talk down, but guys that just were not household names that came through, and the Veratas of the world.
Verata, Ward, Pekka was like their number one line, which is insane.
Well, that's a little bit what happened last night. I thought the game looked way too fast for Thompson last night.
Yep.
But right away, Benson's doing his thing again, and Doan, and then you get McLeod. Like, those guys each had 2 points. Even on the power play, there was a goal in the Byram goal. So, like, that was your offense. Last night. It wasn't Thompson or even Zucker or Tuck. It wasn't your goal scorers. It was those guys who have become more and more of a story in the playoffs, and may it last.
And that start was against the number one I've talked about it for a few days here. I like Doan and Benson and Norris against that number one line, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, and Caulfield. And the game starts, you draw a penalty. Then you don't score on that power play, and 5 minutes in, it's them against that line again with that offense or zone draw in your own end, and they're right out, and Hudson falls for no good reason other than he just got his feet tangled up. Benson did not do any. When I saw that happen live, I was bracing for a whistle. I just thought Benson's right there, his stick's right there, and I thought maybe he was going to get blamed for it, and he didn't. And then it's just off to the races. And yeah.
How about that pass?
I mean, perfection.
That pass should not get through.
The little shimmy. Oh, I'm doing it on camera, and I'm so
Lundqvist
embarrassing.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Right?
He just enough there.
He held him.
Yeah, he just sold it, and then, it was a great job.
He also has the trailer, if he wants him on. It's 3-on-1. He also has Norris.
Norris there, yeah.
Wow. Well, we've talked about it. I don't know if I want to check the Benson box
already.
That's not enough.
It's definitely not enough. No.
Greenway, I'm good. Timmins, I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, Stanley, we almost got there. Like the energy bar is about 70% of the way on Stanley.
Stanley, yeah, I think you already said it. You said it right before we even, I think, decided this was going to be a framework. Like, look at the trade deadline. It's working. They're getting exactly what they wanted out of him and now that pair with Timmins.
I'll tell you what, and anybody, I mean, come on, we're all having so much fun. Let's do this together. 803-0550. Guests on the hour today, so we're open here for a while. And this is what, raise your hand if this wasn't you. All I did after this game was watch 2 hours more of commentary about it. I watched 20 minutes of TSN with Mike Johnson. I watched the TNT guys, of course. I just sort of anything I could consume. Yeah. And especially TNT, but TSN also. It has now, forget Marco Sturm's comment, it is now common knowledge and accepted that the Sabres are big. Everybody knows this now. Like all the panel shows just sort of, it's a given when they're as big as that. And this is new. This has never happened in Sabres history. Never have the Sabres been talked about as big. Because the other guys were bigger. If they were big, even 99, those guys weren't big. They had a couple of big guys, but that line we just talked about, those were not big guys. No. I mean, Benson isn't big, and I'm not trying apples to oranges here, but the decor Tuck and Thompson,
big. Yeah,
like they are talked about as a big team.
Darren Pang in like the intro of the game, or maybe very early, like one of the first times they would have talked to him on the game broadcast, referred to the two of them as the hulking. I don't remember the exact wording, but it stood out to me because I'd never really heard Tuck lumped in with Thompson quite like that. Like the twin towers or something, whatever you use, some phrasing that you use for really big guys. And it's like, and they listed the vitals, like 6'4" Tuck, 6'6" Thompson. I'm like, that's right. I don't think of Tuck as that big a player, but he's every bit of that. The decor is, power's huge. Dahlin's big for someone who moves around the ice like he does. He's very much, he's every bit the player I think that Hudson is, but he's 5 inches taller than Lane Hudson. Samuelson's a big dude. Timmins is big. I used to observe this when they made the Stanley trade. I even said, I'm thinking about Tampa. Like when Tampa got good, and even Florida, like their depth D were like, who's this Makala? But he's 6'6" back there, and he just covers. He's not hurting people. He's not running anybody through walls, but he's in the way a lot. He's in passing lanes, and he's hard on the walls, and his reach is really. And the Sabres have kind of put a decor together that is that.
And it's purposeful.
Yeah.
The Stanley
was with
move
intent. Yeah,
was
for sure.
And a lot of us didn't love it because it meant our beloved son, Metza, going to Rochester. But you got to admit, anybody want to check a player box off with us here as we revel in what's happened? Series far from over. Game 2 tomorrow night. Sean McIndoe at 4. Paul Hamilton, EJ Raddick as well today. Lines open for you next, 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfel, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
Give Belknap a ring.
Flashback is brought to you by Stellar Roofing. When quality counts, choose Stellar Roofing, Siding and Windows. And by Picasso's. We are Buffalo Pizza.
Here's Ward, back to Pekka again, took his shot, deflected wide of the net. Ward kicks it free, out in front, never got his shot away. Back to Pekka, took his shot, scores! The captain does it again! The captain does it early in the second overtime period. Michael Pekka salts it away, and the Buffalo Sabres, undefeated in this series, take a stranglehold 3-0 lead.
Rick Jeanneret. Sabres 5, Canadians 4, Game 3, 1998. Michael Pekka at 124 of period 5 beats, I guess it's Jose Teodor in relief of Jocelyn Thibault in that game. The only goal he gave up. If I read I'm reading the box score correctly.
I'll have to take your word for it. I don't remember who was in goal.
I didn't remember. I would have guessed Teodor, but I guess he didn't start the game.
No.
Sabres had 31 shots. Montreal had 46. Wow, really shocking.
Yeah. That is the average team with a great goaltender series. Martin Rusinski,
yes,
of the Canadiens, described the Sabres that way before the series began, and there it is. There's no, and he
was right.
Yeah, he was correct. Yeah, that's their superpower was that they had the best goalie in the world.
Go figure. That would matter in hockey.
That really helps. It's a big key. Yep.
Let's go to Jeff here. Hi, Jeff.
Hey guys, how are you?
Great, thank you.
I just wanted to talk about Jack Quinn. I think even from the beginning of the year, I was one of the biggest people who I was ready to trade him. He wasn't really working out, and I'm glad at this point he's made me eat my words, because even though he's not necessarily on the board so far, he's got to be one of the most improved players on the roster from the beginning of the year to now. The way he's moving and his confidence and the way that he's out there with everybody, it doesn't even matter who they're with. At this point, their depth, I think, is what's helping them win the games at this point, and he's a huge part of that, along with, everybody like Benson and Doan and McLeod. Even after last night, just them finally having that second, third, fourth line scoring I think is what's making the biggest difference for them, and he's a major part of that.
100% agree. I mean, he probably could have, should have had a hat trick last night, and that line had by miles their best game of the playoffs. And it feels to me like if they can continue to get the chances, even just a portion of the chances they had last night, like that line is going to win them a game in this series. They were fantastic last night. And Quinn especially, he looks like he wants the puck on his stick. The high cycle, like, get it to me. And he's going into the middle, making a guy miss, teeing himself up. Like, he looks fantastic to me. And we've talked about this before. I'm 100% with you. Cruising through February into March, trade deadline is coming. What can I really use here? If I could swap him out for like a 28-year-old version of him, like somebody who's a 20-goal scorer but has been in the playoffs, can grow a beard, blah, 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 blah. And no, he has not produced on the score sheet yet, but I feel like it's coming. Like that, they were very important to having the game sort of go the way it went, just from a standpoint of having the puck and controlling play, because they had not been getting much out of that line at all against Boston. They were great last night.
Here's Brian next. Hi, Brian.
Hey, guys. It's funny. Nobody wants to talk about Jack Quinn, but now you got two calls in a row.
Boom, boom.
Right.
First of all, how fun is this? I mean, I'm not a hockey guy. Like, my fandom is only skin deep, but I'm telling you, when I get into hockey, I can't miss a second of it, and I wonder why I don't get into it more often. It's awesome. But as far as Jack is concerned, I have a bit of family connection with him, and so I was, I'm kind of interested on a personal level, but I was going to call like a few weeks ago about him just to get your guys' take, and since the last guy just kind of hit on some of my points, I'll ask you what I was going to ask you a few weeks back. What is his upside in the league contractually? What could he hope for at the pace he's at? Because I don't know hockey well enough to understand. Is he a 5-year, $50 million guy? Is he a 3-year, $8 million guy? Like I really don't know, and I'd love to hear you guys' take on that.
Asked like a guy who might have a family connection. How much money can my guy make?
I'm a financial advisor. So.
Hey, that's a fair question. I don't think he's $10 million a year.
No.
Maybe he's half that.
No, I mean he's a 20-goal scorer now. He's still young, and it's his first 20-goal season. You should, unless they want to do different, and I don't think it has to be called for, and maybe from a flexibility standpoint, you wouldn't want to put a 7-year, lifetime contract on him right now. I think you still should be able to bridge him, which isn't necessarily great for him, but it could allow, and the motivation for the player to agree to that is, let me go see if I get a 30-goal season on the board before I'm married here for 6 years or 5 years or 7 years at some rate that, frankly, a 30-goal scorer might blow out of the water. So he can bet on himself. The Sabres should be able to sell him on that. And realistically, I don't think he's in a position to really swing much of a hammer. So I think he's modest extension candidate, I would say, at this point. If he's even up. I haven't even looked at
He's an RFA.
He's okay.
So
right.
3 for 15.
Yeah. Sure.
Then we'll see.
Yeah. I should look. I know Spot Track does a great job with sort of reading the market and estimating what football players might be due on what does his next contract look like, that kind of thing. I don't know if that mechanism is there on that site for hockey, but I'm going to look. But I need a moment to sort of sort it out. But yeah, he should be a bridge guy to me. He's not 7 years, $8 million a year yet, but he could parlay a bridge into that. The shot, he has an elite shot.
Man, if he can thread that needle, everything's going in. Everything's just missing right now, but it looks like everything is so close with Quinn. And if I get to overtime tomorrow night and somebody's on a breakaway, I want it to be him.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not even thinking about it. Like that. Tell me I got a breakaway in overtime in game 2. That's the guy I want with the puck. Thanks, Brian. Keep in touch. I might have some financial need questions for myself. Like I don't know what kind of
we all could. Yeah.
What kind of level I need to meet to be a client. Here's Gina next. Hi, Gina.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I personally will be working till the day after my funeral, so yeah, I could definitely use some help. First of all, just want to give you guys some props. I love this show. I just turned 60. You guys are like cousins on the couch, and I enjoy your conversations. I respect the love you have for your family, your wives, your kids, and I enjoy listening to the morning show. So I just wanted to say that.
That's nice of you, Gina. Thank you very much.
100. Just some observations. I'm far from no hockey aficionado. I am just a lover of Buffalo, Bills, Sabres, and everything in between. Watching these Sabres is just obviously exciting me, and I just want to make an observation of, I hear a lot about the power play, or problems with the power play. Obviously, I know we scored twice last night on that power play, but it's amazing to me how important the power play is, and yet look how far we've gotten without being good at it. Can you imagine how good we would be if we were really good at it? So I'm always hopeful and positive for our teams to be the best it can be. And then also I hear about the face-offs. We're not usually good on those either. Obviously, enjoying watching Zach Benson. I just love Buffalo. I enjoy the show, and I'll hang up and just continue to enjoy you guys. Thank you, and go Sabres.
Thanks, Gina.
Yeah.
Well, the power play is actually important, so don't worry about the face-offs.
Yeah, we talked yesterday about this a little, and I said plainly it's hard for me to see them continue to win rounds if they only get one power play goal a series, and that's what they did against Boston. Is that right?
One,
right. And lo and behold, they won last night by 2 goals, and they got 2 power play goals in the game. It is important, and they needed it last night. And you saw how dangerous it's going to be a huge key in this series. I mean, Montreal, those 5 guys they have on the ice for that power play can absolutely dance. It's just super potent, and you saw it. I mean, they made an elite play there. They put Power in a horrible situation where he had to decide. They created a 2-on-1 just out of it. It's by design. I'm sure they knew to have Demidov to lure Byram out and just create what they created, and you're sort of stuck. You still got to execute the pass.
Right. Boston had that a couple of times,
right,
but could not get the pass across.
Right.
On their power play.
So it's going to be, I think, a huge key to the series. And if Buffalo, because I think Montreal's power play has been better all year. I think that's borne out by the stats on the season. I hope so. And if Buffalo can match their power play, it's a huge advantage in the series. Because I think 5-on-5, Buffalo should have the better of it. I think they've got more depth. I think the power play for Montreal could keep them in it if Buffalo can't keep up there. And they're off to a great start. They outscored them 2-1 on the power play last night.
Montreal in the regular season 10th in that department. Buffalo 20th. Boston 9th. I don't know about the Tampa series, but yeah, that it's like it's been 2 things. Their percentage scoring on power plays is this, but in the playoffs with that first unit, they just can't get in. It's not just that they can't score. How would they score if they were to score on their power play last night with the first unit? It'd be the 100-foot goal that Boston scored.
Well, the best chance they had was a play where they faked the drop off,
right?
And they sprung Dahlin in all alone, and he hit the crossbar, or the elbow, or whatever he hit there.
That might be the only anything they
had. And that was I don't want to say it's a broken play. It was a designed play to exploit what was taking away their drop pass and the entries they prefer. So credit to them for breaking that out. But it's not. Yeah, it wasn't like a setup. It wasn't like they got in the zone and made it work. It was, it was a well-executed play, but it was a play, not a power play.
I mean, not to be too harsh, a few of these missteps in their entries last night were just off skates. Like Tuck had one on the right wing on that first power play right away in the game, and he knows what he wants to do. He wants to bank it like a backhand, little bank pass to whoever's at the point, but there's a skate there and it pops out. There were a few that could have gone their way. That's just, when it doesn't, it's just frustrating and it brings the fans down, right? Because it's just, here's a chance to get a jump on the game, and instead it's, 2 minutes of frustration. There's no practice time left. They are what they are, I think, at this point. There's a 1 day off between every game left in this series. Maybe if they're lucky to win it, they can have some time in between this round and the next where they can bang something else out. But I think these are rest days and, just sort of easy skates, couple of video sessions, maybe on this, but there's not really any opportunity, travel days. There's not really opportunities here to kind of redo it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that, because I feel like over the years, even a game day skate can be what happened at the game. We rarely ask that question, but I feel like I've heard through the years, they just worked on power play. It's they could, in a half an hour on a game day skate, just go out there and work on the power play and, come up with a wrinkle or two, moving someone around, just something. So I think there's still room to tinker there and coach that up. But there's no overhaul coming. Right. That's for sure.
Sean McIndoe coming up at 4. Paul Hamilton, EJ Raddick as well today. Thanks for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after this timeout here on WGR.
Yeah.
I thought about one issue on the table with them that we've talked about is whether the deadline moves were worth it. And they don't have Carrick back, and they might get him by tomorrow. That's another interesting question, I think, because they won. And, do you mess with it? But I don't want to say I'll capitulate on Stan Lee because I never hated it, but I had a tough time buying in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going really well. Like he's giving them. Is he not giving them exactly what they wanted?
I think so. Yeah. No, I think so. And frankly, so is Timmins. You know, like so much about, think about the amount of airtime spent on Metsä, and like, is he their number 5 guy now? Like he's in, he's put it in ink. Like, I mean, I was ready to get a Metsä tattoo on my forehead.
Remember Zach Metsä?
Remember Zach Metsä? And like, well, Lindy might want to force Timmins in. He really likes Timmins. And then it just, towards the end of the regular season, it looked a little choppy. And I was concerned. Like, did they choose to make themselves actively worse? Was it I don't think an unreasonable question with how it looked when they were sort of trying out partners for Stanley. Schenn, Metsä, if they're fooling around with it, trying to figure out what they wanted. What they've settled on, I think has ended up helping them. I think it's a net gain. I think Timmins, his penalty killing and shot blocking, which is exactly what he was advertised as, has been very good and very helpful.
He had a big one in the second last night, a shot from the high slot that went off him and out.
Yeah.
Timmins.
Yeah, he was right in front of Lyon for that, I think. Almost the kind of deal where you go, boy, you better get it, because if you don't, you might have really screwed your goalie. But he got it.
And they got the bounce too.
Yeah.
It went out.
So I was worried about that. And it's been good. Like, what they're not good at. Like, anytime Timmins is in a race for a puck, especially against this team, look out. Like, you better make sure you've got a cushion there, because he's not going to win many races, and nor is Stanley. But I feel like it's more pronounced with Timmins. But still, he's gotten to those pucks safely and made enough out of it, to get them out of danger. Yeah, it's no longer, okay, live through this 45 seconds when they're on the ice, which is kind of what it was at the end of the regular season. Some of that might have just been, my attachment to the Metsä idea and just being nervous that this wasn't going to work, but it completely has stabilized. I think it's been really good for them.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
Correction on the Jack Quinn contract. He has another year first. I misread. It's my fault. I misread the Spot Track page, thinking I was looking at next season when I was looking at the following season.
And when I went there, all I was looking for was an estimate on his next contract. I didn't find one because, well, he's still under contract for next year, so they don't have that yet.
So they don't have anybody who's up that I can see here from Spot Track next year. The following year, UFAs, Byram, Zucker, Greenway, Timmons, Lyon.
Well, Tuck this year is the big one. He's up this year.
Yeah, and see, they've already jumped ahead to next year because the season's over.
Oh.
That's how I got mixed up. Like,
okay.
Tuck is not on the
I see.
Spot
He's
Track
not
page
on the list. Okay.
because he's out.
Right.
Which he might not be, but he's
Right.
not. He's not on the page.
Right. Right. The regular season's over. Okay.
That's what.
Yep.
When does that ever happen?
Anyway, so to the caller, see now Quinn, this could be good for Quinn. The bridge is already in place. There doesn't be any animosity about it or anything. He did that last summer, signed a 2-year deal, $3.375 a year, and he scored 20 goals. He does that again or pushes it, mid-20s, 30, then you're talking about a bigger deal for him. But you don't have to do it now. You got until they could still extend him this summer once July, the new league year comes around, but I wouldn't predict they will. I think they'd want to see him put another good year together.
Tomorrow we'll talk to Sal. We'll also talk to Sam Panayotovich, and then Game 2, 6 o'clock pregame tomorrow night. I got an interesting night ahead tomorrow. Well, you're going to the game. That'll be interesting, too.
Yes.
This is my annual, contribution. I volunteer at the Canisius post-senior prom party.
Oh, boy.
Every year dealing blackjack to the boys.
All right.
And that's tomorrow night starting at 11. Can I tell them, am I doing it now? Listen, if this game goes long,
we might be punting.
I don't know about 11.
Going to punt the blackjack?
I can't. I already committed. And then on Tuesday, Game 4, I have ADP chasing, and I just missed last week because of our Game 5 with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I worked this week, but I don't know what I want to do with that. I'm thinking maybe I just wait on the hockey game until we're done, which is like 9:15. But I don't know. Like, is my family stomping up and down upstairs? Like, could I possibly pull that off?
Are the guys you're doing the show with going to ignore the game and not?
If
you tell them to, you could.
Just like with you and me, I don't do the comments. They do.
Okay.
So it's known that I'm here and will be interested in the game. I can convince them to leave me out of it, so I don't have to find out through the show how the Sabres are doing.
All right.
But I also really don't want to ask for another week off because I just took one, and maybe there'll be another one or 3.
Right.
I don't know yet. That's Game 4. That can wait. Sean McIndoe next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. All the time, there are comparisons to 2006. Greenway, for me, evokes comparisons to 99, 98 and 99, where it's the grunts. And last night you had Game 1 in the second round, who they happened to, against the team they happened to play in 98 in the second round. And, that's a Barnaby series. And just the core, if you will, of the Sabres helped elevate them all the way the next year to the finals. Like, it was Hasek, but then, you also had these role players, not to, talk down, but guys that just were not household names that came through, and the Veratas of the world.
Verata, Ward, Pekka was like their number one line, which is insane.
Well, that's a little bit what happened last night. I thought the game looked way too fast for Thompson last night.
Yep.
But right away, Benson's doing his thing again, and Doan, and then you get McLeod. Like, those guys each had 2 points. Even on the power play, there was a goal in the Byram goal. So, like, that was your offense.
Yep.
Last night, it wasn't Thompson or even Zucker or Tuck. It wasn't your goal scorers. It was those guys who have become more and more of a story.
It's a 1-0 series lead for the Buffalo Sabres, and now all eyes point to Game 2 tomorrow night in Buffalo. For more on last night's win, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And then some news from this morning. Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin was announced as one of the 3 finalists for the Norris Trophy that is handed out each year to the league's best defenseman. If Dahlin were to win the award, this would make him the first Norris Trophy winner in Sabres history. And then the other 2 finalists for this year, Cale Makar of Colorado and Zach Werenski of Columbus. There is just one game tonight. It is Game 3 already for Carolina and the Flyers. Hurricanes are up 2-0 as that series heads to Philadelphia. Puck drop tonight is at 8. The Steelers do appear to finally have their answer on Aaron Rodgers. Ian Rappaport is reporting 42-year-old quarterback is set to meet with the Steelers over the next few days, and the expectation is for him to play in Pittsburgh in 2026, but nothing official as of yet. What is official, the NCAA men's and women's selection committees have officially approved the expansion of the NCAA tournament to 76 teams and is expected to start up as soon as next year. And then in baseball, Bison's on the road versus the Iron Pigs. First pitch at 6:45. The Yankees take down the Rangers today 9-2, and the Mets, they're underway in Colorado. New York is up 2-0 in the third. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube with Jeremy and Joe in the morning and Schopp and the Bulldog every afternoon. Watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air, live on YouTube. It's brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more money and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
All right, what's the report from outside?
I was outside for maybe 3 minutes. I counted 8 Q-tips. It's got to be one person that just throws their Q-tips out the window when they're done using them in their cars.
It's Mike Schopp.
One person?
More than one person using Q-tips and throwing them outside?
I don't think I use 8 Q-tips in a year.
I think I've never used 8 Q-tips.
And the Bulldog.
What the hell is going on out there? I don't think I want to work in a place where people roll their windows down if they're using Q-tips for Lord knows what and just throw them on the ground.
Well, you do.
What, is it the 70s?
Oh, that's not very nice.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Driving on the highway 65 miles an hour. I get a little left in my soda from the fast food drive out the window. That was the 70s. Who gives an F about anything?
Throw a burrito out the window.
Nothing matters. 2025, what are you doing?
On WGR.
Throwing Q-tips out of your car.
Sports Radio 550.
Just watching this Met game during the commercial break, the Met cleanup hitter just tried to bunt along the third base line. It was one of those that was fair most of the way, and then it just
trickled foul
eventually
at the
rolled.
end.
Yeah, but you used to see that. But wouldn't you always see sort of the umpires, maybe third base and home, sort of chase the ball so they could be right on top of the play? In this game, the umpires didn't move. We've never seen that before. We've never seen anybody bunt in our lifetime. So we're just going to stand here, and the third baseman does the thing where he swipes it just after it crosses the line foul.
Oh, I know that move.
And you might have invented it. And just nothing. Oh, okay. I guess that was foul. The umpires had no energy for any of that. Very disappointing.
Getaway day.
It might be. It probably is. For the umps, too. With us now on the West Her Hotline is Sean McIndoe. It has been it's that kind of week. It's that kind of year, Sean, where the Sabres are back, and now we're back calling the likes of yourself.
We're having old Holmes days here, Sean.
Ron McLean yesterday, and John Shannon, and just it feels so good. Sean continues to write some of the cleverest hockey on the internet at Down Goes Brown. I'm sorry it's been so long since we've talked.
Yeah, no worries. I think we agreed the last time that we would wait until something good happened to the Toronto Maple Leafs before you had me back on, and that was, I don't know, a year and a half ago, something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think the Leafs were maybe not bad, but not good yet the last time we spoke. I think they hadn't even, Matthews is 10 years ago. And it might have, maybe I'm forgetting one, but it might be longer ago than that. It's too long. Yeah, I think now it's kind of, I don't want to be rude because you're a Leaf guy, but more familiar sort of having this conversation with you in a world where...
Yeah, our tables have turned here.
Toronto's digging out.
The Sabres are ruling the Atlantic.
Two whole playoff series victories ago, that long? That's wild.
As it happens. The Leafs are the Bills. We get that. Or the Bills are the Leafs. Sean, not knowing how close attention you might pay to the NFL, but... It's interesting here how, the Bills have been such a phenomenon, and they've lost in the AFC playoffs several years in a row, and now the Sabres come and happen, and there's just no pressure with the Sabre thing. It's the best for a fan.
It would be the best, and I can't help but feel like I need to apologize to all the Bills fans who were just mortally insulted right now when you called them the Leafs, but... Look, man, I'm sitting here from a distance, as a Leafs fan in Ottawa. Two division rivals, so in theory, I should be maybe grinding my teeth a little bit over the success the Sabres have had this year, but I can't do it. it's great. It's a fantastic story. I can sincerely say I've been rooting for you guys for a while now because I know the fan base. We use the cliche of the long-suffering fan base, and I don't know if anyone has ever suffered quite as much over as long a period of time as Sabres fans have waiting for this season where things finally broke in their direction. And it's been great. I've been kind of quietly rooting along, maybe not so quietly in some moments, and it was fantastic to see you guys get in the playoffs, win a round, and now you are well and truly Canada's team because you're playing the Montreal Canadiens. So you got about 80% of this country backing you too. So no pressure, but we're mostly on your side on this one.
That's what I think too. I mean, I'm not there like you are, but I've had the same thought. My brother-in-law lives in Toronto. I'm like, Mike, is it crazy for me to think the Sabres are like Canada's team right now? And he's like, not at all. Everybody here wants you. And at least we're good enough, Sean, to beat Boston out and kind of take down Tampa. Montreal did the deed in the playoffs, but still, like the Sabres, beat them in important games and race to the top of the division. And everybody loves an underdog. And Buffalo is that quintessentially. I mean, I've known from your writing for years, just like you're trying to show your love here, or not love, but just like respect for the fans and the tradition of the Sabres and everything. And you know as well as we do maybe how hard that has been at times with what's going on here.
Absolutely. And I've never been a Sabres fan, but I grew up just north of Toronto, and I'm old enough that back then, Buffalo and Toronto, it was like this little shared culture. We got each other's TV channels, and so I could watch the Sabres games, and I got used to the voices, and I knew Rick Jenneret and all of that stuff. And there wasn't, at least back then, the two teams weren't even in the same conference, so it wasn't like there was a rivalry. It was, maybe a mutual respect sort of thing, if anything. And then it did eventually get in the same conference. Obviously, they had the one playoff meeting during the Hasek era. But look, I've always got a ton of respect for the fan bases who have been waiting a long time for that win. Obviously, as a Leafs fan, it's not hard to figure out where that's coming from, but we've seen it over the last little while where, we finally saw the Capitals get their cup, and we saw the St. Louis Blues, and before that, the Kings, and it was great to see, and it sort of feels like the table of the fan bases that are waiting has been losing members over the years, and there's a few of us still left, and I do count the Leafs in there because as old as I am, I'm not old enough to have any memories of the Leafs winning anything. It's us and Buffalo and Vancouver and maybe a couple of others, but it's getting sparse, and we got to have each other's backs whenever we can. So I've been pumping the tires of the Sabres bandwagon over the last few weeks and months, and plan to keep doing it for as long as this run can go on.
Sean, we're both just like you in sharing like the TV channels and everything like that. Hockey Night in Canada, CTV, Channel 11 for the Leafs on Wednesday nights. Again, I'll mention my brother-in-law who lives and grew up in Toronto, and he would tell me how he would watch the Buffalo, the evening news. I'm like, oh, what was that? And he'd say, well, there was always a fire.
Fire on the west side.
There was always a fire.
Irv Weinstein.
I was going to say, it's always what's on fire tonight. That is the nightly news, the old joke that we always had about Buffalo.
So, Sean, forgive me if you've written thousands of words about how you think or what your best idea is to how the Sabres managed to pull off this act here since December, where they just turned on a dime and became one of the best teams in the league. Someone walks into a bar and sits down next to you and finds out that you write about hockey for a living and asks you, like, how do you explain the Sabres? What do you say?
First of all, I mean, that's my worst nightmare, to get found out like that. And ask a bunch of questions that I'm expected to know the answer to. But honestly, part of what makes it a great story is how it really did kind of come out of nowhere. We've seen teams hit a rock bottom and fire a coach and turn things around. Usually that's a short-term boost, but sometimes the new guy just clicks right away. I've never seen it happen with a general manager this way before, where it really felt like that decision to say goodbye to Kevin Adams at long last and to hand the reins over to Jarmo kind of just changed something about the attitude, the culture, whatever it was. It just changed the way the whole team carried themselves, the way that they walked into these games. And I don't know if that's it or if it's just the timing is more coincidental or what it is. But I'll be real honest with you. Even when that change happened and the Sabres almost immediately started winning some games, even then I wasn't sold, and most of us weren't. We're looking at this going, oh, okay, it's time for the annual win streak in Buffalo where they're going to roll off 7 or 8 or 10 games in a row, and everyone's going to get excited, and everyone's going to say, finally, the Sabres have figured it out, and they're on their way, and then they'll lose 10 in a row, and that'll be the end of it. We fall for this every year. We're not going to try to kick the football that Lucy's holding this time because we know how it's going to end. And this year, it just never happened. And I mean, they have been an absolute, just an absolute unit since mid-December, basically since they made that change. And obviously, it was always possible to look at this team and see the vision, see the talent, see the pieces, and say, okay, if this and that and this other thing, and if they were all to come together at the same time, and the young guys did this, and a couple of the veterans did that, yes, it could all add up to something reasonably good. I don't even know that we felt like the best case scenario was going to be first place in the division and winning playoff rounds and home ice and all of that stuff.
I didn't.
But you always felt like if it could all come together, there might be something here. It just never seemed to. And at some point you kind of shrug your shoulders and go, I guess it just won't. And that's why it was nice to be sort of pleasantly surprised this year at that moment, whenever it was for most of us, whether it was January or February, when you went, wait a second, this is for real. This is happening. There is no collapse coming. This is actually playing out. And that was the part where I said, okay, you know what? I don't know. I can't figure it out, but let's jump on board. Let's find out if Sabres fans are okay with opening the doors on the bandwagon, and if they are, let's fill it up, because I know there's going to be a ton of support flooding in from around the league.
We will. Thank you for all that, Sean. Sean McIndoe with us. We will be talking about this story for years still, and just trying to figure out how it happened, like you have, and trying to put timestamps on it. Bulldog, it was what for you, like the 10th win right before New Year's?
Well, they beat Dallas on New Year's Eve, Sean, and Dallas was in the midst of, like, they lost 4 out of 5 or something. Maybe like the slumpiest slump Dallas had all year was when the Sabres were there to visit them on New Year's Eve. But they absolutely owned that game, and it was their 10th win in a row. And, I like you, we went through this a few years ago, and it was all overtime and shootout stuff, and almost none of this was. There were a couple, but they dominated Dallas that night. And I thought, they can play with anybody.
And they weren't stealing games with goaltending.
Right. I think Dallas is one of the best teams in the league. I think that was borne out, even though they went out in round 1 here. And that was the game for me. I mean, I just thought they can play with anybody. I think they're going to do it. So I was early, I guess.
Yep. That is a great game to point to. I think it is early. It's probably earlier than I got there. I mean, for me, it just felt like when the streak happened, when it started, and there was that moment when you went, okay, well, wait a second. Look at the way this Eastern playoff race is rolling out. Buffalo's got a shot here. The bunch of other teams are struggling. By that point, it was clear Toronto and Florida were taking a step back. Ottawa wasn't quite what we thought they were. Detroit looked great for a bit, and then they started to fade, and you're just kind of sitting there going, there might be a spot here. There might be a spot for Buffalo to get into the playoffs. Sneak in, backdoor it, however you want to phrase it. And then it just kind of felt like closer to the Olympics. You just look at the standings, and suddenly you're going, man, they're 6 points up. man, now they're 8 points up. They're going to do and it was that realization that not only are they making the playoffs, there's not even going to be any drama about it. The drama is going to be about where they finish, and eventually it became, can they finish first in the division? Can they finish first in the conference? But it was that feeling of, there isn't going to be a collapse here because there's not going to be any room for a collapse. They've already pretty much punched their ticket, and once you realize that, then you're sitting there going, well, hold on a second, how far can this really go? And the point for me where I really jumped on board, and this was much later in the season, and it wasn't so much jumping on board as far as, okay, this is a team that can make the playoffs, but it was that crazy Tampa game.
Yeah.
Right, where they had played Tampa a little while earlier, and they had beaten Tampa, and that's great. Tampa's a really good team. They were the big boys of the division, and it was a nice message. But you kind of felt like, okay, it's a long season. Sometimes you catch a team on an off night, and that's what they had done there. And so, okay, the first win, not that big a deal. But then Tampa comes into Buffalo, and it was as if the Tampa Bay Lightning said, okay, we didn't take you seriously the first time. Now we're going to take it serious. Now you're getting the Tampa Bay Lightning big boy game, and you're going to get the full Lightning experience, and we're going to see if you punks can hang with us. And they did, and we got that wild 8-7 or whatever it was final.
That's right.
That was absolutely crazy, and that was the moment where just watching that game in real time, going, man, these guys are not taking a backward step. They are not even remotely. They don't seem intimidated, and I don't mean physically intimidated. I mean like the stage isn't too bright, the lights aren't too bright, none of this stuff. They're ready to go with these guys, and the fact that they won the game was a bonus. But just the fact that they stood toe to toe with them, literally in a couple of cases, was the moment where I realized, okay, this isn't just a team that's going to make the playoffs. There might be something special going on here. This might be one of those seasons we see sometimes in hockey, sometimes in sports, where maybe you got to turn off the brain just a little bit and go, something weird is happening, something special is happening. I don't need to figure it out. I'm just going to sit and I'm going to enjoy it for as long as we get to. And here we are at the beginning of May, and it's still going.
Well, there are phases to discovery and levels of belief. I didn't think they were going to win the division on New Year's Eve when they beat Dallas, but it grew over time. And when they do that to Tampa, then it's just like, okay, they could win the cup. I think is where you get to when they play that way, or at least come out of the East anyway. There's nobody in the East. I don't know. We haven't really spent a lot of time on Colorado, honestly, Sean. Just sort of
or even Carolina,
leaving them over there for now. Yeah, that's right. But they can win this division, and from there, who's better than them in the East if you can run with Tampa. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't get credit for thinking on New Year's Eve they were going to get 109 points on the year. I just thought they'd make the playoffs is what I thought on New Year's Eve, and it just kept growing as they did more and more, put together more and more streaks of 8 out of 10 and all this sort of stuff that they just kept doing.
Well, Sean, I mean, you mentioned the Lightning, and they hadn't the week before the Olympic break, they had not played Tampa yet, and so I wasn't either thinking about first place, but they go to Tampa and lose in overtime. They had the lead with a minute left. They lose that game. They come out of the break and whip them. That's the game you referenced. Then they come here and beat them 8-7. Then there's one more with Tampa here when they're maybe tied or just about, and the Sabres win again. And that's where I get there too. I mean, maybe Tampa's not as exactly peak Tampa, but they're close. And what can I do? And we, how we're alike maybe. There's always sort of this, the possibility of losing. It sort of lurks over your shoulder all the time. Oh no, what if something goes wrong? Last night, it's 4-1 in the second period. I'm like, okay, I guess this is happening again. I mean, it wasn't a perfect game or exactly an easy game, but still a pretty decisive.
They shut it down in the third period, which they did in that last meeting Mike just referenced against Tampa, where they're protecting a lead and they've learned how to do that, which is
and the Bruins
very professional. Sean, this is a team that blew a 4-0 lead against Colorado last season. They have learned how to protect leads and close games out.
Yeah, absolutely, and you need to do that. And even the series before against Boston, which is a series that on paper you're looking at, okay, well, this team had this many points, and this team had that many points, and this team finished first, and this team's a wild card, and this team's got home ice. They should win the series. But it was kind of like, all right, well, maybe we believe it when we see it. And the first couple of games in Buffalo, Boston was right there with them. And then even, I mean, I got to be honest, even in Game 5, I guess it was, in Buffalo, which was a big deal up here, as I'm guessing you guys know, the whole thing with the Canadian anthem. That went real viral up here. Everybody saw it. People were talking about it. It was one of those things that it passed what I call the mom test, which is my mom, who doesn't watch hockey and care remotely about it, understood that something had happened and wanted to text me and ask me about it. What's this going on with Buffalo singing the anthem? So, you're watching it, and then they go and lose that game, right? Boston plays great. Boston wins the game, and I'm sitting there going, oh no, did the Canadian anthem just take them down?
Oh.
Is this the Canadian Stanley Cup curse? Did we just claim another one, or is this how it's going to go? So I was very happy to see the Sabres wrap it up in 6 and not have to feel a sense of responsibility.
That's funny.
But it's fun, man. You can see it laying out, right? Because the way it's gone, and obviously this series of Montreal, we're one game in, and it feels like there's going to be a ton of twists and turns. Like we haven't even got to the opening credits on this story, but to serve up Boston and then Montreal. Okay, so we're doing the Adams Division reunion tour. And then you've got Carolina potentially next, which is, I mean, that's first of all, that's the Hartford Whalers right there, and then could you go to Colorado and actually finish it off with the Nordiques?
Nordiques,
I mean,
right?
You guys could actually do the full old Adams division, but even beyond that, I know enough Sabres fans to know that the fan base still feels like there's some unfinished business from 2006 with the Carolina Hurricanes, and a few breaks and series and pucks over glass and that sort of thing. So this is the great thing about sports. You have those wounds, you have those scars, but then every now and then a really special team comes along and maybe it can start healing up a few of them. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'd love to have it go that way, man. That would be fantastic.
I've thought about 2006 almost every day for the last month. I've never thought about Hartford and Quebec. I know that if I were playing this on NHL 26, when I got to the semis, I would only dress the Hurricanes in the Hartford uniforms, and then only the Avalanche in the Quebec uniforms. I would figure that out.
Right.
But I love that you thought about that here, thought of that.
Sean, you led here with us calling you because something good happened for Toronto. How about the week that's been there with the announcement and how that was received, and then a day later you get the lottery win? I mean, just seems pretty turbulent. What's your take on all of it right now with the Leafs?
Yeah, it was really something because, I mean, even going back before the press conference on Monday, the news of who they were hiring had leaked out a couple of days previous, and the reaction had not been positive. I think it's fair to say, even among the fan base, let alone the various insiders around the league who are plugged in, and there was certainly some reaction there as well. And then on Sunday they announced the hiring, and then Monday's the press conference, and of course we all saw what happened and how it played out and what some of the questions were, and just a real dark cloud over everything Maple Leafs related. I mean, there were a lot of fans that I heard from, or that I saw in various places, saying, man, I might be out with this group because, boy, the season we just went through, miserable season, and we don't seem headed in the right direction. And then you look at it and you go, man, they're hiring, they're bringing in, we all love Matt Sundin, but a guy with no front office experience whatsoever. And John Chayka, who's been managing a Wendy's for the last 5 years. This is the best we can do, and Keith Pelly, who's not the owner but kind of represents the ownership, and obviously in Buffalo, you guys know what it feels like to maybe start to lose faith in the suits way up above, and just this hopeless feeling, and to the point where I will be honest, when I was watching the draft lottery on Tuesday night, and when I saw that number 12 pop up, my reaction wasn't even to cheer or to jump up and down or anything. I just started laughing because this is the most ridiculous team in all of the NHL, and now they've got the number 1 overall pick, and it doesn't change everything, but it changes a few things. It opens up some doors and some options, and it certainly changes the mood in a fan base where the knives were out already, day 1 for the new front office. And then day 2, suddenly everyone's looking around going, okay, maybe this will work out after all. We all know it won't. We all know that they'll find a way to screw it up somehow, but it was nice to have that little bump of enthusiasm in the middle of an otherwise pretty miserable week. And, I think the hockey gods realized they had maybe kicked us a few too many times when we were down, so they had to help us up one time in order to prepare us for future kickings.
Sean, future kickings. We ended on that note. Sean McIndoe, thank you for all your words, spoken and written. It's great to have you back on with us.
Right on, and all the best from Canada to Canada's team.
There it is. Well put. Thanks, Sean. Sean McIndoe at Down Goes Brown. Been a long time. Canada's team, I think so, but I can't claim it since I'm not up there. I'm just a caveman. I don't know all your customs.
All right, we've got. I feel like it's 2-1 now. Although you tell me, I don't know where Ron McLean didn't really cast a vote. Your brother-in-law McIndoe, but Shannon on Tuesday, John Shannon was like, "Oh, the Montreal, the Canadians, Canada will root for Montreal."
Ron was more of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
yeah,
if the Canadians didn't make it, he said, "What we're going to adopt Buffalo."
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think Montreal is sort of a specific fan base, and I think a lot of the fans and hockey fans in Canada who don't root for the Canadians root against them.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR.
It's a 1-0 series for the Buffalo Sabres, and now all eyes point to Game 2 tomorrow night in Buffalo. For more on last night, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Do stay tuned. Paul is going to join the show in just about a half hour at 5. And then we also got some news from this morning. Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin was announced as one of the 3 finalists for the Norris Trophy. And is, of course, handed out to the league's best defenseman each year. And if Dahlin were to win this award, he would be the first Norris Trophy winner in Sabres history. The other 2 finalists are Cale Makar for Colorado and Zach Werenski of Columbus. There's just one other game tonight in the league. It's already Game 3 for Carolina and the Flyers. The Hurricanes are up 2-0 in that series as it heads to Philadelphia. Puck drop at 8 o'clock tonight. The Steelers appear to finally have their answer on Aaron Rodgers. Ian Rappaport reported earlier today that the 42-year-old quarterback is set to meet with the Steelers over the next few days. The expectation is for him to play in Pittsburgh in 2026, but nothing is official as of yet. But what is official, the NCAA's men's and women's selection committees have approved the expansion of the NCAA tournament to 76 teams. This is expected to be put into effect as soon as next year. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I think Makar's the best defenseman, but I think Dahlin's going to win it. I do. I think Dahlin's going to win it. It's his year for sure. Like, he penalty kills. He plays hard. He's got tons of block shots. He's kind of a complete defenseman. Like, look at the jump that their team made. Like, the fact that Werenski's team didn't make the playoffs, that will hurt him in the voters' opinions.
Kevin Bieksa, Canadian hockey analyst, longtime defenseman in the league.
Sitting on a panel, I think, anchored by Ron McLean, probably last night.
How is that guy?
Yeah, we should call him.
We should call
we
him.
used to be in touch with him, didn't we? Those were good old days.
What happened to Ron McLean?
Yeah.
What do you think of the point?
Are
the voters going to look at the Sabres season and even maybe Dahlin's story a little bit, and like it's his year?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, he is nominated for the Masterson, which is more for that. And I could see him winning that with his story. Nothing against, who is it, Brock Nelson and Jonathan Taves, I think, are the others. No, Landeskog, not Nelson. I have a hard time seeing him winning the Selke. I love that he's nominated. I think it's the way that you eventually win it is to be in the hierarchy, to be mentioned in that group. So he's a finalist. I think that'll help him next year. I respect what BX is saying about Werenski. I think that could impact voters, but I think Makar would still maybe outrank Dahlin myself. Objectively, honestly. I mean, I'd love it if I'm wrong, and if BX could be right about all that, that would be wonderful. But I just think it's a tough. I think he's the third choice.
The Sabres have never had a Norris Trophy winner, or even probably a finalist. Not that they had finalists in the day, but still, who would have been top? I don't know. Do you know who James Norris was?
I do not. I don't even know that. I feel like today probably was a reminder, because I maybe knew this at one point and then forgot. I never even knew what is the Norris Trophy. I never knew James Norris.
Also, the old Norris division was named for him, and in the International Hockey League, there's a Norris Trophy for the top goaltender in the league. He was not a player; he was an owner. Norris. In fact, he was a grain and cattle industry magnate, according to his Wikipedia page, and ended up owning. I mean, I don't know, maybe all the teams. Chicago, Detroit. He was sort of involved in both of those franchises back in the original 6 days. He died in 1952.
So he gets his name on they wanted to pay tribute to someone who was important to the foundation of the league, and so he got his name on a trophy, even though he has nothing really to do with playing defense in the NHL.
Did not play hockey.
Okay.
I mean, professionally.
Right. All right. an oddity, I think.
When the Red Wings were winning cups in the 40s and 50s, he owned the team, and apparently he had a heart condition, so he couldn't go to their games.
Ooh.
But his coach and GM would call him after games to tell him how it went, and that was Jack Adams.
Okay,
so they really did.
Yeah.
They just really took all the awards, didn't they, these people?
So right.
James Norris, the Norris Trophy. Here's Tom with us. Hi, Tom.
Hey, guys. So I love this team, and it just seems like every day there's another layer of fun that seems to appear. First thing was Benson in the postgame yesterday, just admitting to not paying attention, and I've never it felt more relatable to a professional athlete. I thought that was great. And then just this afternoon, listening to Alex Lyon talk, seems like every interview he has, he just says something super poignant and really smart. And then he refers to himself as the amorphous blob, which I thought was awesome and random and weird, like goalies can be. So just continuing to have fun with all of this and our ability to pay attention to the team like we weren't able to the last time we were in the spot with all the access to stuff online. So this is great, having fun. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. Yeah, that's interesting how it's different following sports than 20 years ago or even 15 years ago.
Sure. Yep.
The access.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get you on the pregame videos and
sure.
scoreboard.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, 20 years ago, could you have done what you did last night? Watch 20 minutes of TSN's postgame coverage? Maybe. I mean, the internet existed 20 years ago, but
it's so fast
to
now.
have it at your fingertips, like you might have been able to go to like tsn.ca and see if they were going to have news conferences from the hockey game an hour or two after the game. But like streaming their live programming probably wasn't happening 20 years ago.
No.
And now you can just do it on your phone.
But it's so fast.
Right.
Like there was one game where my wife wasn't home until maybe it was almost over. And in minutes from the end of the game, you go to YouTube and the NHL will have up a 5 or 10 minute montage of the game. Like you can watch the whole game in 10 minutes, just minutes after it has ended. That's different.
Yep.
I mean, maybe TSN was up, maybe the next day you could have had that show, but not immediately after the game, which is what now. You know, it's Canadian. Like there's always been, I know from curling, like just
this
these
video's
different
not
rules.
Available, whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah.
But I got there and watched 2 or 3 different Canadians players, Suzuki at his locker, and then St. Louis at a table talking about the game. They kind of all said, maybe someone else, Doc, they kind of all said the same thing. Company line on this one last night from Montreal was how different a style of game it was than their Tampa games, that there's an adjustment that we have to make. And, you know, the Sabres might have said a lot of that, too, from playing Boston.
Yeah. I saw the thing that really stuck with me that St. Louis said that I thought was really interesting, and I don't know, there could be a little bit of gamesmanship within it, too, was indicating, like, our top guys had a lot more room tonight than they had against Tampa. And we have to, like, get used to being, like, get used to playing with that time. If we've got that time, we got to use it, right? We've got skill and talent that we can exploit you if you're going to give us time and space. And he seemed to be indicating that he thought his team didn't capitalize on that last night because maybe they were too much in the habit of having to move the puck more quickly because of Tampa's pressure or whatever. The gamesmanship part is, like, do the Sabres take that in and think, like, we got to change something? We weren't tight enough on them. Are we giving them too much time and space? I mean, they certainly had opportunities. The early part of the game, like, it's so funny. Like, the third period is locked down, and honestly, there probably is, but I can't remember, like, a save in the third period where I'm like, whew, thank God I got that one, right? First period, I think there were saves like that. Lyon made a couple of saves in this game in the first period. It could have been a very different game after 20 minutes. Like, he might have had his best period of the game in the first period. And it can be a little backwards because you're looking at crunch time and protecting the lead and all that. But they all count the same. You know, like it was important that he made big saves at the outset of this game and they got in their comfort zone and they had a 2-goal lead for most of this game and were able to just kind of, park it in the end. But I like St. Louis, like making that point, and I'm wondering about how real it is and what the Sabres' reaction, if any, will be to it.
Sabres win on the money line. They win minus a goal and a half, which is maybe plus 200-ish.
Yep.
And the game goes over 5.5, barely, but it was by the end of the second period. I checked my bet on the Sabres to win the Stanley Cup. I didn't tell you that I had a bet on that.
I didn't know that. All right.
Cash out option bumped up 81 cents today.
Oh, boy. All right.
Wow.
Well, they're trying to tempt you.
Well, that was a big win.
How long ago did you make this wager?
Last week.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's not like November.
Right. Should have done that sooner. Yeah.
I mean, that would have been,
oh my gosh,
200 to 1.
Insane.
Maybe.
Yeah. I would. I don't remember because I never thought to look. I'm not one who needs to look at the odds when my team is in the basement. Like I'm not interested really.
I'd rather look at the sun right. when my team is in last place than the odds. Let me just stare at the sun for a few minutes. That's safe, isn't it? I mean, I don't think I'm exaggerating to say before December 9th, if somehow you were told that this season would happen, but in 2 years, we would take it. This is going to happen in 2 years.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
Yeah.
At least someday it's going to.
They're going to be the best team in the Atlantic Division, win the division. Yeah.
I would have taken it.
I think so.
December 1st, you tell me that the 27-28 Sabres are this, I'm in. And, it presumes that they're not before that.
Right.
I'm just, okay. Hopefully I'll live that long and I'll enjoy that in 2028. Looking forward to World Cup or something. Like, he says, okay, well, I'll focus on something else until then, and then hopefully I'm around for that, and that'll be really fun.
There can be a ramp up. There really was not a ramp up.
No.
They just stopped losing.
One thing I'll remember, too, all the time is just Paul talking about in those miserable days, like we had so many of over the last decade and more, how do they get back in it, right? Once in a while you want to ask. He's like, well, they need to win 10 straight. I'm like, they don't have to win 10 straight to get in it. The season won't even be half over yet. They won 10 straight, and they were like tied.
Right, they weren't in. They were in it, but they weren't like in a spot. They had to keep going.
An amazing sort of line from Paul, whether it was a prediction or not. I don't think it was a prediction, right. But it's like, if they win 10 straight, let's talk. And they literally did.
And then just kept going.
And we have not stopped talking about them since. I know. Paul will join us at 5, which is coming up here just over 15 minutes away. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta still bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time.
Paul Hamilton coming up just after 5. Thought of it as soon as we walked out yesterday. Your Love is the name of that song by the Outfield.
I don't want to steal your love tonight. Yeah, okay. I think I said steal your love.
Something.
Yeah.
Something close.
So, but your love, okay.
Soon as I wasn't even to my car yet.
Wow. See, I ran out of here so fast that I think I already was wheels up by the time you got out there.
I'm
gone.
slower.
Yeah.
Somebody was covering it in the arena about an hour before face-off last night. Sal will be on tomorrow. Rookie minicamp. Remember the Bills? Sal will be on tomorrow. We'll talk about that. And the schedule is next week. It sounds like it's going to be next week. I didn't realize there was a second known game on the schedule. Not just that Rams-Niners game in Australia, but the Brazil game is known. Did you know this? Week 3.
Week 3?
Week 3 is Baltimore-Dallas in Rio.
Okay.
Reportedly.
Oh, right, because Australia, they're going to have right. When is Australia? There's a Wednesday now because they got those two games. I thought the Brazil game was a part of that, but no, it's not. That's why I got confused.
Right.
Okay.
Australia is the next night from the opener.
Right.
And week 3 is Ravens-Cowboys.
So the opener, the season opener, traditional Super Bowl Seattle, that's Wednesday.
Yes.
Then the Australia game's Thursday, and this Brazil game is a few weeks after that.
Week 3.
Okay. No, I didn't know. Who is that again?
Baltimore-Dallas.
Okay. No, I did not know that.
So if the Bills, it's this much relevant to the Bills. If the Bills were to, whether it's their opener or not, but home in week 3 is not going to be the Ravens. I like the idea of a week 3 stadium opener, or even week 2. I don't need it to be week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore is such a great rivalry now. Like
Yeah.
you could, what happened last year when they met in week 1? Like you could do that again. New coaches.
But it can't be week 3.
It can't be week 3 if it's the Ravens. They're busy. Next week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday for the schedule is the latest I've read. Get into some of that with Sal tomorrow. Paul Hamilton, though, coming up after the update on last night's Sabres win and things going forward. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
The Buffalo Sabres start their second-round series the same way they did the first round, up 1-0 after 1. And now all eyes do point to Game 2 tomorrow night in Buffalo. For more on last night's win, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Also, stay tuned. Paul's going to join the show next. But we did have some news from this morning. Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin was announced as one of the 3 finalists for the Norris Trophy, the annual award that is handed out to the league's best defenseman. If Dahlin were to win this award, he would be the first Norris Trophy winner in Sabres history. And then the other 2 finalists are Cale Makar of Colorado and Zach Werenski of Columbus. Tonight, though, there is just 1 game in the league. It's already Game 3 for Carolina and the Flyers. The Hurricanes are up 2-0 as that series heads to Philadelphia. Puck drop tonight is at 8 o'clock. The Steelers appear to finally have their answer on Aaron Rodgers. Ian Rappaport earlier today reporting that the 42-year-old quarterback is set to meet with the Steelers over the next few days. The expectation is for him to play in Pittsburgh in 2026, but nothing official as of yet. And then the NCAA's men and women's selection committees have officially approved the expansion of the NCAA tournament to 76 teams. That is expected to get going as soon as next year. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube with Jeremy and Joe in the morning and Schopp and the Bulldog every afternoon. Watch your favorite WGR host anytime, anywhere, live on air, live on YouTube. It's brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more money and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Paul Hamilton.
Oh, Cervatic and Hamilton going to each other, and Sawinski. Fight into it.
We have to fight.
With Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Snodcheck was just totaled by an Iowa State player against the board.
I think it was by Hamilton.
On WGR.
Really a pretty unnecessary hit by Hamilton. Hamilton is still awfully mad. He's being held back.
Number 17, Paul Hamilton. 2 minutes for charging, 5 minutes for fighting, and the misconduct.
Sports Radio 550.
Are we going to need Paul to enlighten us on what the crowd was like?
I could use some help because I have no idea.
You have no feel for it from the broadcast, from the TNT broadcast.
I couldn't tell you if anybody sang the anthem. I couldn't tell you if anybody chanted. I don't get that. It was a very strangely mic'd game. Let's Go Buffalo sounded like 5 people near the broadcast location. Like I'm at a game at Tacoma watching 10-year-olds play. And I'm sure it was the whole arena, but I never heard, you know what that sounds like. From being, even watching on TV, you can usually hear it. All I heard was like a group of people. The Canadian anthem is being sung, and I'm really paying attention, and I can't hear anything. And then eventually, 3/4 of the way through a song, I hear someone just go, woo, in the crowd during the anthem, which I thought meant no one's singing, because I can hear that guy.
Well, that's weird for me. I also watched on TNT. I could hear the fans sing the anthem. They sang, I thought, the Star-Spangled Banner louder, which I thought would happen.
That's what I got on Twitter. I went right to Twitter like, well, I was wrong about the anthem. I guess it's not going to stick. And people were like, what are you talking about?
No, yeah. Well, her mic wasn't going to break.
Right. No, I knew that. I just, I couldn't tell. The audio was a disaster in this game last night, I thought.
Paul, is this all news to you? A new story to cover?
Paul doesn't care. Paul's at all these games. He doesn't care what's happening.
Yeah, I was there. The audio was great for me.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And you, whichever one of you just said, the anthem, the U.S. anthem was very loud, and so was the Canadian. I think they both were louder than you normally would get when Cammie is singing. Usually they listen to her, and so I thought, yes, definitely. I thought the fans did a great job in Buffalo, because usually there is about 70-75% Montreal fans in there, and I would estimate maybe 10 to 15% this time, and they couldn't get going. The Montreal fans, anytime they might try, which was rare, they got drowned out by the Buffalo fans, and you didn't really even know they were there other than you saw their red jerseys scattered about a little bit. So I thought, great job by Western New York, not only to keep your tickets and come to the game, but what they did once they got to the game.
It was a Montreal game I was at where you might have been the one to ask Darlene after the game about the makeup of the crowd, and he basically said, too much red.
I hope it's not, Right.
Yeah. It was, I think, the last one. I think if you're
right,
if I'm not mistaken, and he got his wish.
He got his wish. Is he fine, Darlene?
Yeah. I asked him today, and he said that it hurt because what the concern I would have is he went down, walked it off, which often happens when you block a shot. It almost always happens, and came back to the bench and sat down, but never played. There was enough time for him to play because play went on after he sat down, and then there was a whistle, and then there was a timeout. So it's not like he's winded or anything, and that's when he would have been on the ice normally after the timeout protecting a 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
He wasn't and didn't play the rest of the game. Now, Lindy Ruff did say after the game, this is Lindy Ruff talking, he said, I had not talked to doctors, but I did walk by him, and he seemed fine, is how he put it. But stressed that he had not talked to doctors. And then I asked Darlene today, and he said, it hurt, but he said, I am not injured.
Right.
This is how he put
Did
it.
he
He was fine coming to the podium.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he was in stress or distress or anything like that. So it seems like he's okay.
Back of the leg? Like back of the knee? Like where did he get it?
Yeah, no, he didn't say.
padding. Oh, right, okay.
He didn't want to say too much.
Okay, yeah.
He said more than Carrick, or not Carrick. I can't remember the injured player.
Norris?
Yes, he said more than Norris did.
Right.
But he just said, "Look, it hurt, but he goes, I am not injured."
The bottom line is he's fine.
I didn't see the contact, but I did notice him right away, like flexing his leg, and the play went on for a little bit. And when he hit the tunnel, I said to my wife, "He's walking that off like that." It never scared me. Maybe if they're up 1 goal, he's back on the ice with a minute left.
Yeah.
It is amazing how you can just walk that out. It feels like you've like broken 25 bones when it happens, and then you go down the tunnel or wherever and you walk for a bit, and it doesn't feel great, but it feels good enough that the sting and the hurt go away enough that you can function after that. And you got a big bruise, but you're not
spectacular bruise. Yeah.
yeah. But it's just amazing how it when it first happens, you feel like you're going to be out for the next 3 years, and then you can walk it off a little bit, and you're going to be fine.
My experience with that bruise is like there's almost like you can almost see the mark where the puck actually hit you. That's not bruised, and then everything around it is discolored, and there's purple and there's like yellow, and it's just all just gross.
Well, look, you should see the shin pads. I still have them, but I don't play hockey anymore because of concussions. But they're cracked from where pucks have hit them.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It's just like they're almost shattered because I've been wearing them since I was like 18 years old, and the elbow pads are falling apart. This is the same thing, but it really does a number.
I never got a clear look at it. I only mentioned back of the leg where there's no padding because I think that's what they said on the broadcast, on the telecast, that they thought that's where he got it. Maybe Pang said that he was between the benches. So anyway, Norris Trophy finalist, Paul. I don't love his chances to win it, but it's a step toward winning it to me to get nominated as a finalist. And so I'm excited to see him get that kind of recognition here.
I know it's up against Makar, but really after Pronger made his comments, it kind of woke me up to opinions across the hockey world. I mean, people were agreeing with Pronger, and saying how much he deserves it and everything. And I guess I just needed to be slapped across the head a little bit to realize, as far as what he was doing compared to others. So, me, I'm not going to predict who's going to win and who's not, but I think he's got a chance.
Sure.
Especially just, as I said, hearing a lot of what was said after Pronger and Elliot Friedman said what they said.
Well, I think you could win.
What's that?
I think you could win, too.
Yeah. We had a clip of Kevin Bieksa on Sportsnet or the CBC, whatever, prominent Canadian telecast of this game last night, talking about him like he thinks he should win it. So that's another guy, former defenseman in the league, sort of lining up with Pronger. So, yeah, I don't hate that. I just think he's in tough with those other two guys being a first-time finalist. But, yeah, he certainly could win it.
I think what BX said, not to split hairs, is that he might have predicted that he would win. Maybe not that he would have voted for him or he thinks he should.
Okay.
But that, like, he used the term, it's kind of his year. And, you know, that narrative stuff goes a long way with these things, right?
Yep.
He's the captain of a team that came out of nowhere and won the hardest division in hockey easily. And he had a point per game almost, Dahlin. Like, there was nothing. Maybe some of the other metrics, or maybe Makar is just like too much of a wow factor. I mean, he's got the numbers too. But Dahlin is an easy story, plus his personal life.
Right.
Captain, I mean, just all of it kind of lines up well. That doesn't mean he has to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he won.
I think when you bring in the personal life might be why he could be maybe the favorite for the Masterton.
Yeah.
How he's handled everything and just, you know, the way he is. What I like about him and Makar is they're complete defensemen. I can't stand the offensive Paul Coffey, Carlson. You know, I loved it when Lidstrom basically dominated the award because what a defenseman he was. He could do anything. He could play D. He can play on the offensive end. I just might have been one of the best defensemen I've ever seen. I won't say he's the best defenseman ever because I didn't see Doug Harvey play or anything like that.
Come on, you can admit it.
It's kind of like I always say O.J. Simpson is the best running back I've ever seen. I didn't see Jim Brown. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, so I always do that. It's like, well, is he the best one I've ever seen? Whether he's the best one ever, I don't know. I wasn't born when some of these guys were playing.
Those elbow pads you talk about that are cracked, I mean, they were Doug Harvey elbow pads, weren't they? When you went over to Kupelos and bought those as a young lad?
Yeah, really.
Makar did not blow Dahlin away like on the regular hockey card stats. 79 points in 75 games. He's got 20 goals.
Same.
But it's a very comparable year. Werenski, I think, is the one whose production. I got to look his numbers up here. Again, just the straight counting stats. 81 points.
All the same.
Yeah.
And you don't see Hughes here.
I thought there was somebody that had elevated to the point where it was statistically like, oh yeah, that guy's obvious.
And Hughes is another one that can play at both ends of the rink. And
he's dynamite. Yeah.
I just can't stand I don't care Carlson over 100 points or whatever. He's not a complete defenseman, and it just bothers me when somebody like that wins the award.
Hughes also almost identical, 76 points in 74 games, but he doesn't make the finalists list. And speaking of narratives, that's an easy one with how the Olympics went.
Right.
He was traded, which maybe doesn't help him, but he's not a contender anymore for the Norris Trophy.
Rasmus Dahlin did say today, he goes, when you're on a good team that starts winning, you start getting things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Indicating that now Werenski's not on a team that's winning, but still I think he's got a point in some of these awards that your team starts winning and you're a big part of that, these things start coming your way.
And Hughes won the award 2 years ago when playing for Vancouver.
And Vancouver had a good year that year, didn't they?
Yeah, Tocchet is their coach. They were a playoff team. They were really good, and then the bottom just fell out amidst all this J.T. Miller, Elias Pettersson nonsense season before last. And then this year, Hughes put a gun to the head, and they had to get rid of him.
Were you with Dahlin when the news had broken yet, or did it break after?
No, we were talking to Lyon when it broke. He came first.
All right, so
we
you
were
couldn't
talking
get a reaction
Lyon, and then remember last year they didn't have an award ceremony, didn't they? Like go to each person's home, like they went to a lake and handed them, you just won the Norris Trophy, or you just won this trophy, or whatever. They didn't have an award ceremony last year, did they?
I was drafting.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I just remember them going to they're standing on a pier and the guy's in a boat and here's your award. You're the MVP. Hi, Connor Hellebuck. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, I don't recall now. Yeah.
Here you go. So I think, man, I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how they did it last year.
They ought to do that with the Stanley Cup. Just award it. The Sabres are a great story. Go to the lake, get a picture of the falls all lit up, blue and gold. One idea. Paul Hamilton on the Wester Hotline. How about last night's game, Paul? How would you describe it?
I agree with Lindy and St. Louis. It wasn't either one of the team's best efforts, but it wasn't awful. I mean, Lindy said maybe there was a little bit of rust or whatever, but they know how to win hockey games, and even in the third period they got one shot, but I wouldn't say they got run over or they're lying to save their bacon.
It surprised me when I heard they only had one shot in the period. I wasn't paying attention to the shot clock, and it didn't feel like a period where they'd only had one shot.
Well, Bulldog, when I thought about it, remember that Zucker made the great play to Quinn in front. He missed the net.
Yep.
And I think there might have been a couple of blocked where they earned some offensive chances that got blocked.
Mm-hmm.
So it just didn't seem like they were getting run over by any means. They know how to finish games like that, and I never thought to myself, this is getting close. They better watch themselves here.
Yeah, the scariest part of the game, I would say for me, with that in mind, was near the end of the second period. After the Doc goal, it made it 4-2. I thought Montreal was really buzzing at the end of the second period, and I was feeling all kinds of like, don't get me to 4-3 going to the room, like hang on to this 2-goal lead. And they managed to do that, but that was the most, I think, on their heels. I think the Sabres looked to me all night was late second after it became 4-2.
And the other thing was, and Lindy, I talked to Lindy Ruff about this, and he kind of disagreed with me somewhat. There was no disagreement for whatever reason. Thompson line was going against the Suzuki line, and Lindy is the last change, and he said that wasn't my plan. That's not really what I wanted, but he goes, I stayed with it. And I think he stayed with it because I thought that what I thought was, and the question I asked was, did those two lines cancel each other out because they did a really good job defending against each other? I didn't really remember a lot of chances 5-on-5 for either line. And then Lindy goes, well, I'll disagree with you a little bit here. And then he went over a couple of chances by the Thompson line, and then he said, but that wasn't when Suzuki was on the ice. He said that twice. I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's what I'm pointing out here.
Right.
Right. But and then I asked him right at the end, we were done, and he was walking off, and I said, well, answer me this. I said, did you feel the Thompson line did a good job defending the Suzuki line? He goes, yeah, I did. He goes, they gave up, I think, one scoring chance to him, when they were together, on the ice. So it was an interesting choice by Lindy Ruff, I thought, to do that.
I agree.
But they both, I thought, defended each other, and I still kind of think they kind of eliminated each other by doing that.
I want to try this on you and you as well, Mike. I wonder, it's the playoffs, but it's game one of a series. And I know Mike and I were like-minded, and Paul, I'm sure I brought you into this. Like, I love the idea of how they started the game with Benson, Doan, and Norris against that line, right? They got last change, so the Montreal turns in their lineup. Mm-hmm. They're starting that line. Okay, this is our matchup. And right away, power play. And then 5 minutes later, it's the first goal of the game. And that is that same matchup, and they just boat raced them up the ice. It's fortunate that Hudson lost his balance and fell on the play to create the odd man rush. But nonetheless, like that looks like the matchup. And then as the game went on, like you're saying, it was, Thompson. And I wonder if Lindy didn't maybe look at it as, well, I trust this Benson line. I'm going to call it the Benson line, even though Norris is the center. I trust that line. It's a long series. I'm not going to have last change up in Montreal. Right, I may have to get used to settling for, like, what's my second choice? And you might want to find out as early as you can what that looks like and what that feels like. And again, I know it's dangerous to be experimenting in a playoff game like that, but you got to find out, right? So I thought maybe that was a little bit what was going on. Like, how is this going to work for me when I don't have a choice?
And I think maybe it wound up that way for a shift or two, and he thought, well, yeah, this one, all right.
Right.
All right, if they want to do this, I'm not gonna go against it. And the really biggest mistake was Thompson turned it over, but that was against Doc. That wasn't against the Suzuki line, and that wound up in the net. Other than that, I thought the Thompson line did very well defensively. Hey, Thompson's human. Everybody turns the puck over. Everybody makes a mistake. But overall, I think they did a nice job against the Suzuki line.
Ruff now up to 76 playoff wins as a coach, fourth most among coaches who do not have a Stanley Cup to their credit. In order by wins, Pete DeBoer is number one. Then it's the late Pat Quinn and Alain Vigneault. Ruff can catch and pass Vigneault for playoff wins if the Sabres win this round. Paul Hamilton on the West Her hotline. If Carrick is ready, does he go in 100%?
That's interesting. No, wouldn't say 100%. Just because they won the game, and I really like Kozak. I thought that line performed very well. That was by far Greenway's best game, and I'm not just saying it because he scored.
Mm-hmm.
He had 5 hits. He was great on the wall. He won battles. The whole line. I mean, on his goal. I mean, first of all, Greenway did a great job to set up Carrier to screen the goaltender, and then you've got Kozak taking Matheson to the net. You got a flash screen right there that just had gotten by Dobish when the shot was coming, but I'm sure it distracted him. And when the shot was coming off the stick, he couldn't have seen, but it had gone by him where maybe the puck is on its way. But by that time, he's screened by the defenseman, and the puck kind of hits his glove, and you could see him look over to the left as it's kind of hitting his glove. And that was one thing I wanted to talk to Owen about, because he was talking this morning that goaltender can't give that up, and I didn't have a chance to elaborate with him. And my thought was, what does he mean? Does he mean a screen goaltender should maybe have his glove up further, and he didn't have the glove in the right position to give him the odds to make the save, even though he can't see it? So, I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to talk to him about that, probably tomorrow. But, you look at – I don't really blame him for any of the goals. I mean, the bang-bang plays that are basically going into the empty net on tic-tac-toe, and you got 2 screens. The Doan screened on the Byram one, too. I really wouldn't blame Dobish on any of the 4 goals.
I like this, too. The leader in ice time for the Sabres, I believe, was Samuelson at about 21:30, maybe 21:35. Hudson was almost 27 minutes. Like, the Sabres really didn't have to strain at all in this game. I mean, they played with the lead.
Yep.
And there's no 25 to 30 minute
even though they were without Stanley for like the back half of the first period.
Right.
And Lindy said he likes the fact that he can basically roll his lines. He goes, it's very comforting to know that, because he's not afraid to put the Kozak line out against maybe the other team's best line. That does not faze him at all. He thinks they're good enough defensively that it's fine if it winds up being that. So he said he likes the fact that he can just roll his lines and not be extremely worried about who's out against who and that type of thing, because he trusts them all the way. And I didn't finish with Kozak. I just thought he was around the net all night. He was laying in the crease one time. I thought he was great on the forecheck. So to say that Carrick is definitely going in if he can, I don't know what Lindy would think, because it wasn't the team's best game. It wasn't like the Boston Game 6 where you wouldn't have wanted to change anything. But they did win,
it is
and
still
they won
a
at
winning lineup.
home.
Yeah, right.
So,
and it wasn't that stressful,
right,
on the scoreboard. All right, Paul. Well, thanks for taking our questions, and we'll talk tomorrow.
We should do it at a podium if I'm taking questions. I mean, come on.
I imagine you at a podium right now. That's how I've been picturing this. That backdrop behind you with the sponsors, even though we can't see it.
Right.
They're not getting their money's worth.
No. Well, it just says Relax Honda. Relax, we got this. That's what's behind Paul.
That's exactly what it says.
That's exactly right.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
All right,
Take care,
buddy.
guys.
I guess you already did
That was
did
that. That was that. Yeah, that was that's what that was. We're all good.
Are we good on how the game sounds? So I don't need more crowd noise from TNT. I need to hear what's going on. And maybe you're right that the crowd is somehow, it's a weird kind of mix. But I can't hear the announcers if the crowd is louder.
I could. Then, I mean, I don't know. I hear you on that. I feel like MSG does it all the time, where I can hear the crowd and I can hear Dan and Rob. I mean, find a balance. I mean, you're a professional broadcast outlet. Here's the thing. If the crowd were just muted, that would be annoying. What was annoying to me is that I could hear the 5 guys chanting, "Let's go Buffalo," but not 19,000. And that made it seem like I was watching some rinky-dink little thing that nobody cared about. Like it was a passionless thing I was watching. It just was disorienting and annoying. I think you should be able to present the game with crowd noise that gives you an idea of that it's a madhouse in there And I think you should want to translate that to your audience, not at the risk of overwhelming your play-by-play person, at least not regularly with intent. It was just dead, except for, again, the reason I thought I couldn't hear anybody singing the anthem and then thought nobody must be singing because I can't hear it at all was hearing one person yell out woo, which to me would not happen if I wouldn't hear that over everyone singing. I think they just have it mic'd weird.
Maybe.
I don't know what's going on there, but it's really annoying.
There are breaks in the song. I mean, I might have heard that a few times in the two anthems. I had no trouble hearing the crowd. We might have different setups.
Yeah, that might be right too.
You know, like I often watch sports and have a tough time making out what the announcer is saying, and I might have sort of a button wrong or something.
Maybe the way your setup is, you get more crowd noise than I get. I don't know.
I got to see because I don't want that.
You're right. And I don't want to start fiddling around with that. Like, I'm not, but I know I had a lot of company, once I brought it up, because last night had me really on my heels because the anthem thing, and then, like, am I crazy? Like, I'm hearing 5 people chanting, "Let's go Buffalo." Like, it really sounds like 5 people, like, around an open mic, not 19,000 people. And so I went to Twitter, and there was a lot of like, yes, I had the same experience.
Well, I would like to have that crowd noise during the breaks when it's all drug ads.
Right.
Kids and allergies last night on every break. How about there's one where you can't eat a grapefruit? I mean, I live for the small print on those drug ads.
Yeah.
And good thing they're on constantly.
Yeah.
So there was one last night where if you took this and had a grapefruit, you were in bad shape.
Yeah.
Careful out there.
I wouldn't. Sorry, I'm thinking, is it my setup? But it sounds great when it's on MSG. So it's not my setup.
I think maybe there's also the rink effects. There's probably that's an allure of a broadcast is the sounds of the puck on the stick and the ice and all of that. And I wonder if nationally they turn that up.
I don't know. I've been mostly very supportive. I think TNT is blowing ESPN out of the water this playoff cycle. It probably was happening last year as well, but maybe I didn't notice as much. And the Sabres weren't in, too, so you didn't have as much to compare, like MSG versus ESPN or TNT in the first round. Now that's gone, I just expect it to sound like, people are sending me video feeds from the Sportsnet feed, and you can hear Chris Cuthbert, and you can hear the crowd, and it sounds like a playoff hockey game in a playoff hockey hotbed, not a game being played exhibition style in front of fans who've never seen a hockey game before.
Well, look, I mean, you're coming strong here. You tell it like it is, like that mattress guy. Very strong words. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after sports here on WGR. His wish. Is he fine, Darlene?
Yeah. I asked him today, and he said that it hurt because what the concern I would have is he went down, walked it off, which often happens when you block a shot. It almost always happens, and came back to the bench and sat down, but never played. There was enough time for him to play because play went on after he sat down, and then there was a whistle, and then there was a timeout. So it's not like he's winded or anything, and that's when he would have been on the ice normally after the timeout protecting a 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
He wasn't and didn't play the rest of the game. Now, Lindy Ruff did say after the game, this is Lindy Ruff talking, he said, I had not talked to doctors, but I did walk by him and he seemed fine, is how he put it. But stressed that he had not talked to doctors. And then I asked Darlene today, and he said, it hurt, but he said, I am not injured.
Right.
is how he put
Did
it.
he
And
get-
he was fine coming to the podium.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he was in stress or distress or anything like that. So it seems like he's okay.
Back of the leg, like back of the knee, like where did he get it?
Yeah, no, he didn't
no
say.
padding. Oh, right, okay.
He didn't want to say too much.
Okay,
He
yeah.
said more than Carrick, or not Carrick. I can't remember the injured player.
Norris.
Yes, he said more than Norris did.
Right.
But he just said, "Look, it hurt, but he goes, I am not injured."
In Buffalo, for more on yesterday, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. He also has more on the news from this morning. Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin announced as one of the 3 finalists for the Norris Trophy that is handed out annually to the league's best defenseman. And if Dahlin were to win this award, he would become the first Norris Trophy winner in Sabres history. The other 2 finalists are Cale Makar for Colorado and Zach Werenski of Columbus. And of course, as round 2 is underway for the Sabres, we do have round 2 playoff posters ready for you. Stop by any Paula's Donuts location and grab the We Love River Hockey poster while supplies last. Hang it with pride at home, work, take it with you to the game, or watch parties. Paula's Donuts, made with love on Sheridan in Tonawanda, in the Premier Plaza in Williamsville, Southgate Plaza in West Seneca, and Seneca Street in Larkinville. Tonight, there is just one game in the league. It's already Game 3 for Carolina and the Flyers. Hurricanes are up 2-0 in that series as it heads to Philadelphia. Puck drop tonight is at 8 o'clock. And then big news in college sports. The NCAA men and women's selection committees have officially approved the expansion of the NCAA tournament to 76 teams that is expected to be in effect as early as next year. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
The first to answer our upcoming Mother's Day themed sports trivia question correctly at 716-221-4WGR, that's 4947, will win a $125 gift card to the Woodhouse Spa in Williamsville. It's what mom really wants for Mother's Day. Today's question, this baseball legend's mother, Mabel, was a star track and field athlete herself. He wore number 24 and is known as, or was, the Say Hey Kid. Who was the Say Hey Kid? 716-221-4WGR. You know this one, I think.
I got this one. Yeah. I didn't know anything about the Say Hey Kid's mom, though, so I appreciated learning that she was a track and field star. I didn't know that.
Neither did I. But I know how he got his nickname. Can I say his name yet? We got it? I know how he got the nickname, the Say Hey Kid.
Okay.
I know this about him.
I don't think this is one of these things that I probably saw in a Ken Burns or whatever. I probably know, but I have forgotten, so I can't wait to be refreshed.
I know this from the Joe Posnanski book, The Baseball 100, where, it's a ranking of the best players ever, but it's not really like it's, liberties are taken. Although this player came in at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Willie Mays was nicknamed the Say Hey Kid because he never knew it. He never remembered anybody's name. And he would just say hey to everybody. So I think how it happened in those days was somebody, at a newspaper called him that because he just always hey. He just said hey to everybody.
All right.
He says hey. So he's the Say Hey Kid. Willie Mays.
Turns out I did not know that story.
Willie Howard Mays, I believe.
I wish it was better.
The story?
The story, yeah. It's not that great.
Well, I mean, I can only...
No, I know. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying...
I'm just working with the material I've got.
Precisely. I know how that sounded. I don't think you could have done a better job with the story. I just don't think it's not that interesting a story, as it turns out.
You'd want to have the story be more like that he just sort of grew up in a hayfield.
Oh, sure.
And he kept saying, hey, get me out of here. Hey. What?
Right.
Hey.
Something.
His first word was hey, because all he did was he was surrounded by hay.
Yeah.
Would you'd enjoyed that more? It wouldn't have been true.
Yeah, no. I didn't want you to embellish at all. I'm just saying it's not that great a story.
You know what's embellished? A 76-team NCAA tournament. Yet another sports thing no one wanted. Yet another sign of excess. Nobody ever wanted 76 teams. Nobody complained that 18 and 16 NC State didn't make it this year, or 15 and 19 Virginia. Mm-hmm. Nobody minded that. Nobody needs to watch those teams in postseason play. Nobody needed an already absolutely watered down regular season where they play twice as many games as they used to play that mean nothing. Made worse by now, 8 more teams, men and women, added to the NCAA tournament. Nobody asked for it. Not one person needed it, and we've got it. And that's how sports goes. More and more things all the time that don't help, that no one wants, and just make it all seem cheaper. But I'm sure there'll be a new stream service that you don't have.
Sure, yes.
Where you'll have to go to watch the 12 seeds play on a Wednesday afternoon next year.
Right. In an extra round of play-in games or whatever is going to happen.
What they're doing is, so there were 4 play-in games, right?
Mm-hmm. 2 each night, right.
2 each night, 2 between 16 seeds and 2 between maybe 11s. So you'd have the weakest 2 teams in the whole tournament play, and we'd all be glued. And then you'd have the Texas and somebody, the 11s. That was a game. Maybe it was NC State. That was a game this year. What they're going to do is change it from 4 play-in games to 10.
Great.
Or 12. It's 12. 12 play-in games. 1, 2, 3, 4 between the 16 seeds. So now there will be 8 16 seeds instead of 4 like it used to be. And all the 16s will play each other, and it'll be amazing. And there'll be lots of replay reviews. And then you'll have 2 play-in games between 15 seeds, 4 between 12s, and 2 between 11s.
And I'm not going to watch a single minute of any of it.
Nobody wants this.
I'm not.
But we've got it.
I'm already deciding here and now I've only just now learned of this, and I'm already prepared to completely and utterly ignore it.
Nobody wanted a 7th playoff team in football.
Don't care.
Nobody wanted offside challenges in hockey.
Nope.
Nobody wanted 76-team tournaments. But it's more playoff teams. It's more play-in games. It's just more anything, more replay reviews, more commercials, more, game, quote unquote, and that's how it has to be. 76. 64 was a number a sports fan knew as a kid, like that the tournament is very special and famous, and 64 teams for decades was the number, and it was wonderful.
64. Same number as the big Crayola box.
Same number as crayons.
Perfect.
Yep. Exactly. Totally perfect. Same as the crayons. One of those teams was going to be burnt sienna.
Right.
And it was perfect. And we were all happy. And it was a functioning society, a normal functioning society with laws and decency. And look now. Look at us now. 76 teams. How many college football playoff teams are we up to? 30? 10? How many is it? Why do we need any? Have a season.
Isn't there talk of 24 for that?
Probably.
That's gaining.
How about 76?
That's gaining a foothold. 24 for the football playoff.
If this is a hit, let's go to right this jump. Why drag it out? Let's just go right to 76 football teams.
God, everything sucks.
You're so right. You just summed it up. 76. I can't wait to watch Bucknell next year play in this.
Well.
Sorry to pick on Bucknell. If I don't know of you, I'm not going to pick on you and say your name because you're that irrelevant. But if you are, a North Dakota State or a Cal State Fullerton or a New Hampshire or a Elon, or a Southwest Tennessee State of Arkansas, I'm coming for you. Like that's the games already. It's already Joe Lunardi is already writing up bracketology. First 4 in. Now it's not, or last 4 in. Now it's not the last 4 in. It's the last 20 in. And the first 4 out is blank. Nobody's out. Anybody with any claim at all to a tournament bid is in. Here, I know you went 11-20, but you beat Wake Forest on the road without your star. How did you do it? Wow. You have a quality win there that I think we have a place for you, and you are going to play Oregon State on a Tuesday morning at a Dayton arena near you. That's what's going to happen.
You really picked a scab here. I used to really like Middle Valley, Tennessee State of Arkansas when they were in the Missouri Valley Conference, but once they moved to the Pac-12, it just didn't stop. Everything stopped making sense.
Yep.
Who can keep up?
Murray State versus Albany is happening. And neither team had a winning record. They don't even have a full complement of players.
They don't even want to go.
They only have 10 players.
They don't even want to go.
They don't even want to go. They don't know where it is or what time. It's inconvenient. They don't travel well, Bulldog. They only have like a pep band and maybe a couple of cheerleaders and a manager. But hey, they're in. They made the dance. There's going to be a banner.
Oh my God, all the banners.
There's so many banners. They're already starting to make the banners for some of these teams because it's like, of course they'll make it. Of course.
Because everybody does.
Everybody makes it. Of course Duquesne is in. They won 8 games. But the margin of victory and the Sagarin rating was
they played
undeniable.
A hard schedule.
They had to be included.
Yeah.
They went 8-30.
Couldn't keep them out.
But they did beat West Virginia in double overtime on a 3-pointer that was banked in. And there really was a foul there that wasn't called, if you want to be completely honest. But, that's a quality win.
They didn't need it.
Right. How are we still getting by with 16 NHL playoff teams? Thank goodness the Sabres did this before next year they expand to 24.
That's right.
We got to get Florida back. We need Florida back. We need the Leafs. We need the Rangers. What is this? Buffalo? What is this? Anaheim? Look at them. They don't even know how to dress.
That Anaheim-Vegas game last night was the most putrid NHL. I'm sure there have been atrocious jersey matchups. Don't send me the pictures. NHL game. The Ducks in Vegas last night was, it was unwatchable. It looked so bad. Vegas had the mustardy, yellowish, brown mustard. They look spongy, those jerseys. It's a very weird-looking material. It looks absorbent or something. I don't even know. And then the Ducks with, like, orange pants and orange helmets. And, it's just horrible.
Well, maybe some of these play-in games are salvageable depending on the clothes. Idaho State versus Maryland, Baltimore County. Tell me what they're wearing first, and then maybe. I'll keep an open mind. EJ Raddick coming up at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. This is Mike Schopp. Mother's Day is Sunday. If you notice a rattle in your ducts or a rise in your heating and cooling bills, well, if so, give Belknap a ring with 0% financing. The cost of upgrading to a high-efficiency dual-fuel heating system is a breeze. Learn more at belknapheating.com. That's belknapheating.com. Go green, save energy and money with Belknap. Schedule a free estimate on your new installation. Give Belknap a ring, 688-1728. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. That's a tricky one, dual fuel, because they don't exactly rhyme. Like, they're a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get it.
Yep. I had to take my time with that when I did it yesterday.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You had to slow down on that one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes.
We don't have a lot of time here, but I'm sorry, this felt like for the last few minutes like we're emptying some notebooks or something. But I did see earlier this week, I think the most offensive NFL reporter, like big NFL reporter tweet I had ever seen.
Ooh.
And it was, I believe it was Rappaport. I should check to make sure. It was either him or Schefter announcing that the Philadelphia Eagles had worked out a contract extension with that meatball who stands on the sidelines.
Big Dom. Okay.
And I'm like, you're seriously putting this? You're this level of reporter. This has to make it into your feed. You're gonna make sure we all know that Big Dom is not a free agent. Like I was kind of hoping maybe the Bills could get him in big guy who does nothing standing on the sidelines free agency this year, but the Eagles locked him up. What are we doing with our lives? That like I am following these people for information about sports. And they're letting me know that this guy that like is most famous for trying to punch out Dre Greenlaw during a football game, and now he's in every camera shot of every single time you see Nick Sirianni. There's Big Dom. Like they've reached a contract extension with Big Dom. Thanks, Big Football. I can sleep better knowing that is taken care of. Good job.
Would he have had leverage? Like he might have had some leverage. Like he's a brand.
Man, I would love to see that meeting where he walks into Jeffrey Lurie's office and is like making demands.
There's only one of me.
Who are you?
Buddy.
Just awful.
Have you had brawls on your sideline? No. I wonder why.
Dom.
I guess I might have had something to do with that. EJ Raddick is next.
It's a 1-0 series lead for the Buffalo Sabres. All eyes now pointing to Game 2 tomorrow night in Buffalo. For more on yesterday's win, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Paul also has more on this morning's news. Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin announced as one of the 3 finalists for the Norris Trophy, which of course is handed out annually to the league's best defenseman. If Dahlin were to win this award, he would become the first Norris Trophy winner in Sabres history. And then the other 2 finalists are Cale Makar of Colorado and Zach Werenski of Columbus. Tonight, there is just one game in the league. It's already Game 3, Carolina and the Flyers. Hurricanes are up 2-0 in that series as it heads to Philadelphia. Puck drop tonight is at 8 o'clock. The Steelers appear to finally have their answer. Aaron Rodgers, according to Ian Rappaport, is going to be meeting with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the weekend. The expectations are he is going to play in Pittsburgh in 2026, but nothing official as of yet. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
The line I'm thinking of doesn't really work. Something of the sort of, we've got to stop meeting like this, but I don't want to stop meeting like this.
No.
I want to keep meeting like this. Because E.J. Raddick,
I want to meet like this for the first time in a very long time is what I want to do.
Has come from the top rope to become a regular here in this incredible Sabre season, and we're very happy about it. EJ is, of course, I want to say, with NHL Network. You know that. NHL Tonight, first shift, weekdays at 4 Eastern throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, which we know Bulldog are still going.
Yes, they are.
Hi, EJ.
Hello there.
Bulldog is back.
I was very pleased to hear that Mike enjoyed the visits he had with you. I was sorry that I was not available for either one, but I'm glad to be here now, and hopefully this will be rectified moving forward.
Well, we things have been going well, so hopefully there's not going to be a change in the plan here.
Right.
Let's go back to the Sabres win over Boston, EJ. Were you ever nervous for them?
Well, you're always nervous in a 7-game series, especially, you lose the second game, right, on home ice after that kind of crazy first game, and they haven't been in the playoffs in a long time, so you don't know how they're going to respond. But I think I probably said in one of my previous appearances, I just felt against Boston, they were the better team, and if they played the way they can play, they would win, and that's exactly what happened. So, but there's always nerves. I mean, even, you get a nice win over Montreal last night, but Montreal's a good team. They'll figure out something. It's going to be a hard series.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams very much to me after last night, EJ, sounded like, we know we got more in there. Marty St. Louis was talking about how his big guys had more room than they were used to from the Tampa series, which, I don't know, maybe there's a little gamesmanship in there, hoping to get the Sabres to change something. I don't know. And Lindy Ruff said, we definitely have better. And I would agree as an objective observer. I watched Montreal probably 20 or 30 times this year. Whenever the Sabres weren't playing and they were on, they were my go-to because they were a blast to watch. So I think this series should be really, really fun, fast, and skilled.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the advantage that Buffalo has, I think they have a little bit more size, maybe a little bit more size on the blue line, and they're the difference between playing Tampa and playing Buffalo right now is that Tampa's blue line isn't near as active. They're quite frankly not near as. So, that's going to be a challenge for Montreal moving forward. Alex Lyon has played very well in goal. I'm really thrilled for him as a young guy that is, kind of looked to find his way with different teams over several years. He had that run with Florida at the end of the regular season a couple of years ago that propelled them into the playoffs, and then we know the story from there. Right. So, really happy for Alex Lyon. He's playing well. And, again, as I've said before, happy for everybody up in Buffalo. Maybe the last 18 months, I couldn't figure out why the team wasn't playing better. Their personnel was certainly there, but they figured it out. And, who knows where this is going to end up. This is a very interesting spring.
EJ, let's stay on Lyon for another minute. You know this, I'm sure, from just covering sports for so long. We talked about, was it yesterday, Bulldog, when we got into this a little bit, how you don't necessarily know how good a guy can be when he enters the league. He's not drafted. He played at Yale. He goes to Philadelphia and then maybe Carolina and Detroit and Florida. And he as his career is going along, he's not playing very much. He's playing in the American League. And it's just like until you find out from putting him in the net for some serious amount of games, you don't necessarily know what he can't do. And so he was never anybody's baby, Lyon.
Right.
And here he ends up splitting time. He carves out that much of a role at least. Then Luukkonen glitches in the first round, and here we are. So you always want to remember that about sports. Like, just because somebody wasn't drafted doesn't mean they can't do it.
Yeah, no question about it. And, just because someone doesn't start a playoff year doesn't mean they might not finish it. I mean, I can remember you go with the Hurricanes all the way back in 2006. They started with, I think it was Gerber, and he was out after 2 games, and they had lost both games, and then they went to Cam Ward, and again, the rest is history. He went on a run, and they won the Stanley Cup. So you just never know how it's going to play out. Like I say, I'm really happy for Alex just because you pointed it out. I mean, he was a journeyman. He was kind of a minor league goalie, and even when he had that run in Florida, it was kind of surprising. And but since then, every place he's kind of turned up, I think he's played well and gotten better. And now he's just found himself in a position in Buffalo behind a really good team right now. So I think it's just all come together for both the team and the goalie.
Yeah. When we were talking about this the other day, the goalies in particular, I said because of Lyon's background, I feel like that is the spot that people from the outside and even in here inside in Buffalo, like Sabres fans, might be waiting for him to turn into a pumpkin because he mostly has been that in his career. He's had the couple of chances to have the number one job, and it kind of just got away from him, and so he moved on to someplace else. And it doesn't have to be, like the story isn't written, entirely yet, and he's doing a great job. And listening to him talk about playing the position and the anxiety and the nerves and having to make friends with it. He's a very interesting guy. I mean, goalies often can be, characters, and I don't know that that's necessarily the word I'd want to put on Lyon, but he's a really fascinating guy to listen to talk about how he goes about his job.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goalies in general, that's why a lot of them have gone into media over the years. I think they're interested. We had Scott Wedgwood on our show the other day, and it's a similar story, right? A career backup. He was almost out of hockey, and, now he's the starting goalie in kind of a tandem situation where he's there with Mackenzie Blackwood in Colorado. So, we'll see where it goes. I mean, that's the beauty for Lindy Ruff is that if things don't go well with Lyon and he feels he can make a change, he could go back to Luukkonen, and, that's the way it's been all year. So why not follow the same course? And if Lyon's playing well, just keep him in there. And if he struggles and you think you need a change, you can bring Luukkonen back in, and I'm sure he would play well. That's been what they've done all year.
With E.J. Raddick. By the way, on goalies, what's your opinion of Frederik Andersen? I've never been one to sort of assume that playoff hockey is so different that a guy just, a switch gets flipped and they just can't do it or whatever. I'm never surprised to see a guy who's had a good career do well. But how easy is his life in that net?
Well, listen, you got to have players in front of you. That's the first thing, right? You got to have a team that's defending in front of you, and then, you got to be feeling it. And, Freddie, we go all the way back to when he was with Anaheim. He came into the league, and he was part of a duo with a very young John Gibson. And, they had some successful runs there. He went to Toronto. And, he's just never been a guy that in that big moment in the playoffs has really, when they really needed it, made the big save. And he's given up some weak goals. He's had injuries. But his career has been generally good. Yep. When you think about it. He's a big guy, and he's had a lot of good regular seasons. And, I just think about, the start of this playoffs, guys, I'll be honest, and I said it on the show, I've said it probably every day that we've talked about Freddie Andersen. I would have started the other guy because Freddie has not had that history of being a guy that can take a team and go on a long run. But, Rod Brind'Amour, to his credit, he started Freddie. Now, Freddie missed a lot of time this year, too, due to injury. So maybe that rest has helped him and set him up for this. But he's been brilliant so far in these. They've won all 6 games they played. They swept Ottawa. It was it got a good chances in that series, and Freddie Anderson was terrific. His numbers are near perfect, and even the other night against Philly, gave up 2 early ones, didn't give up another one. They got outplayed in overtime. He had to make, I think, 12 saves.
Yep.
So for Freddie Anderson, he's trying to write like that final chapter you need in a career where it's been a good career. If he were to be able to backstop Carolina on a long run and get them to the finals and play well in the final, even if they don't win per se, I think that would change. It would certainly change my opinion, and I think it would change the narrative a little bit around Freddie, which has been that in the big moment he either comes up with an injury or he comes up a little short. But he's been excellent through these first 6 games this year.
Back to the Sabres. I hope to get back to these other series, too, if we have the time here. But I just want to ask you, EJ, what your sense is of how cool a story, how big a story within the league is it that the Sabres are back? Like,
it's a monster.
Yeah? Okay.
It's a monster story because, for the last 15 years, every year we go through the Stanley Cup playoff ratings, and, the Buffalo area is always the highest. People are paying attention to hockey in Buffalo. They love their hockey there. It's a great hockey city. And, the fact that this team has been out for so long is really, it's just as someone who covers the league and covers the game. I'm rooting for good stories all the time, and they care about hockey there. As you guys know, you live it every day. The people that are listening to this right now, they care about hockey, and the team hasn't been good. There's been a lot of negative stories, and for the team to respond this year and be as good as they are, because as I've said to you before on the show, those top 4D as good as any top 4D in the league. I don't care who you're talking about. You go down the middle in the centers when Norris is right. You got Thompson, Norris, McLeod, 1, 2, 3. You could get Carrick there as a 4. That's really deep through the middle, and that's the spine of your team. And then they've got Luukkonen and Lyon playing well in goals. So, this is a really good team, and I think it's a great story, and it's only going to get bigger and better as they go. And if they can knock off Montreal and get into, I guess, a 2006 conference final rematch with Carolina, because Carolina looks like they're moving forward. That'd be a hell of a series too. But I guess there's a lot to happen between now and then. But it's been a great story.
A few minutes left with EJ Radick of NHL Network, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. One of those top 4 defensemen is a finalist for the Norris Trophy. The Sabres have never sniffed the Norris Trophy, but here is Dahlin in a pretty good position. How do you like his chances of winning?
I think they're pretty good. The team has played really well. They've gotten a lot of attention. The Hockey Writers Association votes for this particular award. They vote for a couple of them, and this is one of them. And you get writers from all over North America, from the different teams, different media outlets that vote for it. And when a team gets more attention, look, he's a finalist. Now, Cale Makar, I think, is generally thought to be the very best defenseman in hockey, but I think Zach Werenski is another guy that got a lot of attention this year. The Blue Jackets had a strong finish to the season, although they kind of wilted at the end. But there was a lot of attention in the Olympics. There was a lot of attention on Werenski in that venue as well. Yep. So, I'll be curious to see what the voting comes out. It's really tough because we have so many really talented defensemen right now. To think that Quinn Hughes wasn't a finalist, to think that Evan Bouchard, who had the most points among defensemen, was a plus player and also improved his defensive game, that he wasn't a finalist. There are those who watch the Islanders and young Matthew Schaefer. They might say he could have been a finalist. So, there's a lot of really talented young defensemen in the game right now. But I've always been a fan of Rasmus Dahlin, and I like the edginess that he brings to the table as well, his physical game, and I'll be curious to see how it plays out. At the end, I always say I'm not huge on, I haven't voted for these in a long time. When you work with the NHL Network, they don't have you vote, which is fine because I don't really want to. I believe this is a one trophy league. And so if Rasmus Dahlin is holding that big trophy that they give out after the last game, I think he'll be pretty happy, even if he doesn't win the Norris.
I suppose. I guess that's right. Bulldog, what do you think? You agree with that?
Yeah, I also would rather the Sabres win the Stanley Cup than Rasmus Dahlin win the Norris Trophy. Yes,
There you go. Imagine someone asking Dahlin and he doesn't say that.
Right.
The Cup would be fine, but
I always wanted to win the Norris. The Cup,
forecheck, back check, paycheck. Listen, this is
there you go.
This is why we're here. Out west quickly, EJ, before you run. Avs. Vegas loses its lead 1-1 with Anaheim. Is Colorado, how close to even money, to put it one way, is Colorado to get out of the West?
Oh, I mean, they're the favorite. I mean, they've been the favorite all year, right? They got off to a great start. I think, right into the end of the calendar year 2025, I think they had like 2 or 3 regulation losses, which is kind of mind-boggling in a league that's so tight. They had some struggles in January and moving forward, but they ended up with the most points in the league. They're a really deep group. They added Kadri at the deadline. They have just about everything you want within your group. Landeskog is back, and I think that's important for that team. He does he provides a lot of intangibles that help those other guys perform at the highest level. So they're going to be a hard out for anybody. I mean, Minnesota's fallen behind 2-0. There's 3 days off in between games. Minnesota likely go back to Wallstat for Game 3. Minnesota's a good team, but, they're missing Eric Sinek and Brodin, and those are 2 important players for them. And I would advise anybody playing the Colorado Avalanche to have their full team healthy and present to go because they're a handful. So I think they're probably, they're an even money pick. And, in the other series, the Anaheim Ducks are playing really good, and it's so crazy because they finished the season 2-6-2. When you look at their regular season numbers, they gave up the most goals of any team that makes the playoffs, and I think they gave up the 3rd most goals in the league.
Yeah.
Usually that's not a formula for success, and yet here they are, and they're 1-1 with Vegas in the second round, and they knocked off Edmonton, and I just think they checked and played really hard two-way hockey last night. They've got a nice mix of players there as well, so that series to me is a toss-up with Vegas. And if Vegas doesn't play better, they'll lose because through the first 2 games, Anaheim has been the better team. And I think Vegas is fortunate that it's 1-1. But I think I think they're in a good position. I can't imagine Colorado losing 4 or 5 unless something dramatic happens in that series. And whoever comes out of the other one, they're going to have their hands equally full with Colorado. They're just a really good team.
Anaheim, fewer regulation wins than Calgary, but got in.
There you go.
4 more than LA.
And somehow they managed to lock up Vegas, especially last night. Like that's the biggest surprise.
Different.
Yeah,
they look different, guys, in the playoffs because like when they matched up with Edmonton, I thought for sure Edmonton would take care of them because they just finished the season on such a down note. As I said, 2-6-2.
Right.
They just didn't look good in doing it. The schedule was not hard, and they were losing games against teams they should have beat, but that's kind of the way they were all year. They had streaks where they were really good. They had streaks where they weren't very good. And they're a team that they get behind in games, and I think they had the most comeback wins in the league this year. So they're never out of a game. And last night, as I said, they got the lead in that game, and, they were a good front runner in the game and played well. So we'll see if Vegas can pick it up when the series moves to Anaheim tomorrow night.
EJ, if we keep winning, we're going to keep asking for you. I hope that
that's all right. I'm here for you. Listen, I feel very, very fortunate to be on with you guys. Like I said, Buffalo is real in terms of the love for this game and for hockey, and it's been way too long. And I'm hoping to get up there at some point soon to see one of the games in person. And put it this way, they keep winning. That's definitely going to happen. So
right,
let's go.
All right.
We'll see.
Thanks again, EJ. We'll talk soon, I hope.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
You too. EJ Radick, NHL Network, NHL Tonight, first shift with EJ, weekdays at 4 throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. We didn't exactly accomplish our goal of talking about every player.
No,
on the
we
team.
talked about like 4 of them.
Yeah, I didn't get that far.
At least we probably talked about more than just 4 guys throughout the day. But in the framework of let's run through the roster. We had a couple guys that we brought up, and then we had a couple calls on Jack Quinn, and then that was kind of the end of that.
Yeah, then it was guest season.
Well, tomorrow's another day.
Technically, yes. Byram didn't come up. He'd be one. 4 goals in the playoffs now. Sabres record tying amount for a defenseman.
See Jason Woolley tweeting.
No,
there was the graphic that he's now tied for the most goals in a single playoff year. with Wooly
and two others,
and Wooly tweeted, "You can do it" or something. Come on, Bo, or something, like encouraging him, like not clear me. Get
one more.
Yeah, get another one.
Is that how you would be? Somebody ties your record?
Yeah. Yeah, provided I have a good relationship with the team and don't have harboring a grudge or anything against the team, but, then yeah, sure. Go get them.
You don't want to be forgotten, though.
Somebody who scored an overtime game winner in game 1 of the finals is probably never going to be forgotten. Wooly.
Listen, we're all going to eventually be forgotten.
Well, all right.
But I like your attitude more.
You put it that way.
You have a better attitude in this area. In all areas, perhaps.
I'm determined to never forget Jason Woolley.
Bottom line. Sean McIndoe with us earlier from The Athletic at Down Goes Brown. Always great ideas. We had a super conversation with him on the Sabres, and that's next here on WGR.